gamers, and welcome to the British University Esports Championship Spring 2022. It's been a long time coming, and we're now live from Insomnia. We're back bigger than ever. We have so much going on here.
It's a place for all competitive gamers to come along. Even if you're not amazing, you can still take part, which is really nice, and you meet so many different students from different unis. It's just really nice, like a fun place to be.
And the NSC, being at Insomnia, is really amazing. Especially a small, isolated university like Oxford, it's great to meet other students who are into esports.
So we've got a spectator area where the student communities come and they're meeting up for the first time in probably 2 years, getting to watch the finals, and then we've also got the teams on stage playing against each other. And then also we've got a student LAN as well, as kind of like a mini LAN in a wider bring your own computer over the weekend. Super grateful for our sponsors. Our headline partner is Intel. We're also partnered with Barclays, Monster Energy, providing loads of Monster Energy to keep everyone fueled over the weekend. PC Specialist, Special Effects, and we're also partnered with Bucks as well.
Everyone in the university scene is so welcoming and so lovely. You don't see people like this anywhere else, like in a community together. And it's just all about creating those connections with different people, and it's just really amazing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational here. We are week one, of course, kicking things off today. My name is John P. I will not be doing this alone. I am joined by I could say Mr. NARAKA himself, someone who's been around NARAKA for a little while. Dan Foxdrop, how you doing, my friend? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Not too bad. Thank you very much. That is the first time I've been referred to as Mr. I'm meant to be the new kid, man. When I was doing the NBPL, I was the newest one there. Everyone else had been before me, and now it's you. This is your first NARAKA broadcast, so your first time casting it. Are you excited to see how the games are going?
Listen, I was so excited. I had to whack the cat ears out. All right, that's how excited I am about today. I just want to say yes, chat. Get the memes out the way. This is what happens when you're working with your girlfriend's setup. All right, you have to get the cat ears out. But no, yeah, I'm really excited. Look, I've been a big fan of NARAKA sort of since I saw the launch of the game and all the hype that it started generating. Then I started to watch the likes of the NBPL, and honestly, I'm really excited to kick things off here. Of course, I don't want to hype things up as if we're going to see like the highest level of gameplay like the Pro League would offer. Of course, these are the university scenes, but I do believe we've got some fantastic teams though competing here today, Dan. 16 to be precise, all fighting it out for their spot of that juicy prize pool. Are there any teams here that off the top of your nut that you might be looking out for?
The top of my nut, yeah. So I would say, firstly, most importantly, Durham University has the best logo. Really like that shade of purple, and it works very nicely with the silver. So bang on to Durham. Outside of that, though, so just for some context here for any viewers watching, some of these teams don't necessarily have the most experienced players. It was an invitational. Basically, just come along and let's see what we can do with the universities. Let's have some fun. So you know, a lot of these teams don't necessarily have the most experienced lineups, but I have heard that the Manchester Met University, Warwick, and Oxford are three teams that actually might be able to bring some experience with them. So they'll be the teams I'm keeping my eyes on for the quality of gameplay. But like I say, Durham for its logo, maybe Coventry Phoenix as well, I think could be up there too. Staffordshire's kind of bringing a little like Plague Inc. vibes into the fold, which is spooky, I think, actually. But hopefully we can survive them and get some good games in.
That's what we're here for, not analysis of NARAKA BLADEPOINT, but analysis of what logo designer has done the best job for
yeah, I mean, they're all pretty good, honestly.
I like they're pretty decent logos.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think my favorite is definitely Coventry, but no, nevertheless, like we said, 16 teams are competing here for their spot not for their spot, for their chance to take home that grand prize and take home the $1,000 top prize. Of course, it is going to be 5,000 split across the whole prize pool. One thing to mention though, Dan, we are playing, of course, trios. This isn't going to be a solo mode, and it'll be interesting to see some of these new teams, for example, how they're going to mesh and sort of sort out their team comps, because usually, you know, we can sit here and talk about, you know, what team comps would see in the highest of Pro League type of games. But for some of these newer players, is it going to be a little bit all good old gung-ho and throw yourself to the wall and try and have some fun? Or are we going to be seeing these teams, you know, really trying to lock down the right team comps for the games?
Oh, I hope it's all gung-ho. Like, you just got to go with comfort, innit? Just pick the champion, pick the hero that you think is the most fun, that you're going to get along with the most, that you've practiced the most. And just go for it. Just do your best. Obviously, there are certain, you know, strategies involved with team compositions that we see in the NBPL, which is the Chinese league, where obviously NARAKA's a very, very popular game over there, and it's an exceptionally high level of competition, and there are metas and certain heroes that get favored over others. We might see some of that coming through today, but I really do feel like, you know, comfort is king. You know, it really is. Like, especially if you don't have as much experience under your belt with the game, you know, if you've just been able to lock in a character and you've had a lot of fun, it's clicked with you, you just pick it, right? And I do think as well, like a game like NARAKA has less, like, it's less important what champion you pick, because, you know, you can still use the same weapons on everyone and stuff like that. So if you know, the fundamentals don't change from hero to hero, so it shouldn't be as big of an issue. And we also don't have any restrictions either for which heroes you can play and like how many times you can play a certain amount of hero. Like, if you want to just one trick a certain guy, go for it, you can do that.
Yeah, well, speaking of restrictions, one thing that isn't going to be restricted is the way that these players can tally up some points, both in the kill department and the placement department. We're following pretty much bang on here the way that the NBPL do their point system, which is one of my favorite point systems across BR. Every single battle royale, you know, sometimes they mainly focus placement points, some focus kill points, but this whole kill multiplier thing that we've got going on here, Dan, in NARAKA, I think, you know, credit where credit is due. I think NARAKA have got it nigh on spot on to the way that we should be seeing a point system.
Yeah, I really like it. It's got a good combination of rewarding aggressive play, but also smart and calculated play as well. Because that's really the two facets of any battle royale, and it's no different in NARAKA. Like, you know, you've got the players just want to go around and frag hunt. Probably how you play, honestly, when you're playing at home. You just run around and try and get as many kills as possible. But at the same time, that's not necessarily conducive to a successful strategy for finishing as high as you can too. Because, you know, the more you're fighting people, the more you're putting yourself in danger, and you know, more likely you are to drop out. So as you can see here, like, you get points for how many kills you get, but the higher you finish, the more those kills mean, and you get a flat amount of placement points depending on your finish as well. So you really do want to get a combination of the two. Obviously, you want to get as many kills and finish as high as possible. But it's not just one of those things where you can kind of just like sneak around and creep your way into you know, like maybe a top 3 finish by avoiding everyone and not fighting, and still having you know, like you'd still be able to finish high in points. So that's very difficult to do. Obviously, we'll be playing 4 games total though today. So sometimes you just got to do that, right? Like, it's very hard to be consistent over every single game. And sometimes you just kind of have to say, okay, so we messed up this game. we're not going to get many kills. We can't really fight. We're not on par with the other teams in this one. So let's just hang out and see if we can finish as high as possible. So you can still at least salvage something from a game if you've messed up otherwise. But it's all going to be about the kills, really. That's where it comes from, and especially in trios as well. Especially in trios where there's more players available for you to take down. It's an important facet of the game, and in that early game, everyone's just going to go absolutely crazy.
Yeah, well, that's where we sort of talk about the likes of the team comps, right? That come into play in when you're selecting your champions or heroes. Are we going to see the sort of traditional pick the likes of one healer, for example, a transformer, and then someone that can do a high damage output, for example? Then you've got sort of the overall best possible scenario. Or are we going to see, like I said, I hate to use the term gung ho again, but someone who just locks in, 3 fast-paced, aggressive players, and we just see the likes of, Yoto and Temi running around everywhere, just completely destroying fools no matter where you're fighting. So I'm really, really interested to see sort of what we are going to see going into next year's game. But in terms of those actual comps, what sort of heroes, what champs here, characters are we going to expect to see? Because for me, surely you're going to see the likes of the Yoto, for example, the likes of the Temulch. They surely have to be in there at some point, right?
Yeah, you would imagine so. Like, there's only like a handful of heroes available anyway, so you often do see, it's not like some other games where you've got like a whole roster and like champion picks and hero picks can really diversify. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of the, like you mentioned, Yoto Temulch is pretty good still. Like he's a very solid hero pickup. Viper is good in threes as well, has a good AoE stun, which can be very useful to set up plays. You've got Wu Chen, who's good for resetting plays as well, which is very, very nice. Sometimes you get yourself in a bit of a pickle. You've got like an AoE teleport you can use to get yourself out of trouble. Justina can do a bit of stuff there as well. Like, there's a lot of different heroes that you can pick up, and that are all pretty good. And I'm just curious to see like pocket picks. That's what I want to focus on, because I think meta is important, but as we mentioned, that comfort is important as well. And if these players have been really like spamming 1 or 2 certain champions, then that's who I want to see them bring out, and I want to see like that can work in your favor. Like it's so underrated. It's so underrated, honestly, picking comfort. And maybe you can take your opponents by surprise and just bring out your favorites and hope you get some good weapon drops and roll that to a victory.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the background of games like League, you'll know about one tricking someone to winning a game so well. But I think in particular, like for NARAKA, like you said, there's only I think a handful, like you said, about 10 or so characters that are available for selection. I can't remember off the top of my head the exact number of characters that there are. So it's really important that, especially for these new players that have only had, maybe 1 or 2 weeks to get to grips with the style of play, the actual gameplay itself, the ability sets, you're not going to be able to learn all of those characters in a short period of time. So definitely stay in where comfort is at home will be going forward. But one thing to mention, though, not only about, playing consistently well on the characters, but playing consistently well in general, because this isn't a long invitational here, Dan. This is only going to get yourself, we're having 2 online weeks, and then we've got the finals at the end of it, which is played offline, I believe. So we're going to have 4 games up today for you. We're going to have 4 games next weekend, next Sunday for you. Then I think we've got a 6-game final. So finding that consistency as those weeks go on is going to be really, really key here for some of these squads.
Absolutely. It's always about consistency in Battle Royales, and that's a lot easier said than done. Personally, my biggest weakness when it comes to competitive gaming is consistency. You have days and you have games where you just feel like, yes, this is it, I'm doing it, I'm getting that top rank, I'm going for it. Like, why am I even struggling in rank? Like, this is just such an easy game. And then you spend the next 3 or 4 days just being awful and sucking and struggling, and it's not good. And NARAKA is just that, but just compressed into one game day. Like you have 4 different games that you're going to be playing out, and it's great to finish high in one game, but at the end of the day, your score is an aggregate. It's not an aggregate. It's all your 4 games, right? It's not just one. You can't just turn up for one and then go home. That's not enough. You got 3 other games to play. Consistency is where it's at, and it's tiring, man. It's tiring. Like it's being full on for 4 games is difficult. It's not that easy to do, and we do see that some teams are better at managing that than others. And we'll see how these uni teams can do that. Hopefully, they've got a lot of Red Bulls. I'm sure they're used to putting like the all-nighters, and their mental stamina is probably pretty high, honestly, from long gaming marathons and cramming deadlines in, as good old university students do. So, yeah, hopefully that won't be too big of a problem for them.
Yeah, listen, we're not going to encourage to skip assignments, but get your prac in, to say the least, is what you need to do before the finals come around. And I agree with you on the rank department. Honestly, any of my teammates that are in the chat, they're going to want to show off my rank score because it's awfully inconsistent, to say the least. But no, I'm really, really excited. We are just a few moments away from kicking off our first few games. Like I said, we are going to have 4 games coming up today. We are, I believe, going to alternate between the 2 competitive maps we have in the game at the moment. We're going to start things off on Morazile, then we're going to head over to Horoth after, then vice versa, and flip between the 2 for the 4 games. So we're going to have 2 on each. And it's interesting when we talk about the maps, because sometimes we speak about how the likes of a team comp can change your overall style of play and the way that you actually like to navigate the map. But, you know, in the likes of NARAKA, we see 2 maps that almost sort of, it reminds me of the likes of another battle royale, PUBG, for example, where, you know, the original map, which is going to be Morris Isle here, reminds me a lot of Erangel, where it's a traditional, you know, play style in battle royale. You have your faster paced engagements, but then you can set yourself up very well inside the shadow at the end. And then you've got Horoth, which is a real slow paced map when it comes to C. But the meta has started to shift as of late in terms of where the pro leagues are. That's become a slightly faster map, but for some of these newer players, I think they're going to really struggle to keep a quick pace on a map like Horoth, for example.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because, like, if I'm these guys, like, all these external factors are just things that I don't even think about, you know, like, I just don't even care. I'm just here to left click, I'm here to run around, I'm trying to not get killed. Doesn't matter where it's happening, if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's sunny, if it's tropical. I mean, a sword's a sword, man, a left click's a left click. You're just trying to do your best as you can. We're seeing now we're getting things started off here now as well. 16 here, this is team number 16, which is the University of Warwick. Angelic Nova here on that Yoto, just skipping around, seeing if they can find anything. You can already see, though, by the movement here, this is going to be one of the teams that is higher expectations coming into this, has done a few more things, has a bit more practice under their belt coming into today. Got some weapons as well. Going to find themselves up against the University of Salford. Angelic Nova up against Westy. Westy, though, just... my goodness, I mean, I didn't even have time to get into it. It's just Dunzo, he's out of it already. Angelic Nova's finding more and more, popping the F to get a little bit of a reset. Try and get some heal, keep himself alive. A lot of bad guys around here, but he does have his teammate involved in now. Nova with that double kill, beautiful stuff, and that's that. Salford,
great start.
Not happy.
Great start for Warwick, to say the least, and this is why the dual blades are one of the best weapons to have in the game at the moment. So much damage output, in particular on the likes of a Yoto. It combines with her abilities so well, and let's not talk about that Omnius blade later on. We'll see how much devastating damage that can do. But well, for Nova, starting things off fantastically well, and the side of Warwick showing why they are one of the sides definitely to keep an eye on. And well, jumping on board over with team number 7 is going to be Chick Thick, rocking that monk. Of course, one of the Transformers. Really a go-to pick for some team comps here. It, you know, paired with the ability that allows you to reduce the damage input from opponents to transform into the Titan core, or as I like to call it, the big scary monster that just comes out of nowhere at times. Always a good, useful bit of util to have in your back pocket.
Absolutely, and these transformations are very important, especially when it comes to the later stages of the game. You pop that ulti, turn into the big scary monster, as you so eloquently put, and you just control zones, you grab people, and make it really difficult actually for other players to navigate those small areas as the circle closes in. Unfortunately, of course, as we're talking about Chick Thick and his transformation, he goes down, he's donezo. That's him dead for now. Lalataku is going to find themselves on the wrong side of dodge as well. Got a legendary weapon. That's a nice pickup, but unfortunately for them, I'm not sure they're going to last long enough to see it through and to keep this weapon. A lot of players barreling down as Lancaster University hot on their trail, but I think they've run into the University of Warwick. Warwick may just be the saviour here. Manchester Met, Lalakatu, I'm of course just going to completely jinx it as he does fall down eventually. He is gonna die and lose that legendary weapon. All donezo there for them. Just a reminder as well, these people dropping like flies early on does not mean they're out of the game just yet. Early on in the games here, you will see that these players have revives available for them. It's that little lotus symbol at the bottom left of your screen, if you can see it underneath the health bar. Like a little lotus that says ×1. That's a resurrection. That means that these guys can die once and then come back scot-free. I mean, you'll lose your gear and stuff, but you won't be knocked out of the game. As the game progresses, you will lose access to that rebirth. And of course, if you die, you will lose the rebirth as well. But it does mean early on that you see a little bit more aggression because, you know, you can take these fights and you can go for these kills if you want to. And if you die, it's not the end of the world because you just come back alive and get another go around, I think.
Yeah, the aggression from the side of Warwick at the moment is going to be needing a few of these teams to use that revive and rebirth ability sooner rather than later. But as I say that, one player does aggress a little bit too much. That's going to be Nom, unfortunately for them. Like you said, on the Yoto, that has got a rebirth to work with, so the revive should come through and the resurrection will take place. But we are going to jump on board over to team number 4 and team number 2. That's going to be KLE fighting over towards Hydro and Fluffy. So much damage going. The ult is popped. There comes the transform through, so that'll keep Fluffy alive for just a few more moments. And well, KLE, they're hot on their tails to get out of that one. But Fluffy says, where you going, boy? Come here, as I'm going to smash you around into the ground and at least tag up a chunk of that armor or so. But here come the rest of Fluffy's squad. And that was a big old ult there on the transform to keep Fluffy alive because he was not looking in the best of spots.
He was not. That was a good grab there. That is team number 2. This is De Montfort University versus Kiel Kraken's team number 4. They've come back for another fight. A very smart strategic play here by Kiel. Against these transformer comps, you know, they pop the ulti, they get the transformations, and then once that's up, they're very scary, very powerful. But once that falls down, suddenly they're vulnerable once again. As you're seeing, Fluffy falls. Sodium chloride is also out of it as well. Kiel just did very smart play there, you know, running away when the transforms are up and then those transforms go down and you re-engage, you go back for the fight when it's more of an even fight, things are more on even footing, and Kiel easily taking this one. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hydro not long for this world either. He is going to fall. Very nicely done there by Kiel as Danny Boy. Now, what team is he coming from? This is Leeds jumping in on the party as well. That Yoto popping the ultimate, not finding too much out of it though. Not going to work for him, unfortunately. It's another kill for Kiel. The Kraken are going crazy here, just sinking the ships of Leeds. No hopes, no dreams left alive for them. Very nicely done. Kiel off to a brilliant start here in the first game of the day.
Yeah, a beautiful demonstration there from Danny on not how to use one of the most broken ults in the game on Yoto. That Omnius Blade so good usually, but whiffing every single slash at all of these players. But no, I just want to highlight the point that you made in terms of the re-aggress here from the side onto, I think it was team number 2, right, who come out of the transform or pop the transform to keep themselves alive. It was Fluffy in their squad. They just left the fight for so long that it sort of pretty much burnt that ult free of charge from the side of team number 2, and it allowed them to re-aggress. They pick up the kills, they sort of refresh and replenish any sort of armor and repair those weapons, and then from there they aggress into the second engagement, and just like that, blink and you miss it. This side here of, I believe you said this is the squad of Leeds if I'm correct here, already on 8 kills here early on, Dan. They are putting out a huge damage input in terms of the kill department. And well, speaking of the kill department, lots more action here going on between the sides of team number 15 and team number 13. One player, though, it's going to be Westy, does get caught between 3 players. And although Cole's going to fall as well, we are now down to a 2 versus 1, if I'm correct, as Kirby looks almost certain to fall, tries to get away, the grapple comes through, that should eventually see Kirby fall, and that is going to be 2 kills for the side of squad number 13. Was 1 remaining player for this squad number 15, does eventually get himself away and out of harm's way.
Bit of a local derby there. We've got winners too. Salford versus the University of Manchester. Manchester coming out on top of that one here. The players on your screen just dancing around, fluttering about. Purple armor and legendary weapons. These guys are kitted to the teeth, and you can see the kill total. 11 kills there for Manchester. That is very impressive. These guys off to a very good start, getting some nice early kills and kitted to their teeth as well. It means as this game goes on, they should be able to find themselves some consistent success. Chances are, whoever you fight, whoever you find yourself running into, most likely won't be as well equipped as you are. And it will certainly give you that advantage. We're now looking at Oxford University, just taking their time, browsing through the goods here. What do they want to buy? What do they want to pick up? Doing a little bit of shopping, changing around their soul jades here, just kitting out their team for the rest of this game. So far already, though, to be honest, not too bad as far as their general loot goes. Nothing too sexy either, but as you're seeing Sephiroth here on your screen with the purple weapon and armor, it's decent, honestly. As far as things go, you know, it's not legendary, it's not yellow, it's not that shiny golden weapon, but it's still something, you know, and it's way more about how you use the weapon than the color it is. Really, it's someone that's more experienced on a certain weapon will have way more success, even if it's like gray or blue compared to versus a legendary weapon in the hands of someone who's not too used to it. You actually see that in the NBPL, by the way. There is a player that loves the dagger so much that he runs blue dagger. Obviously, unless he finds something better, but he ignores the other weapons, even if they're legendary, just to keep the blue dagger, because that is his personal preference. And we're talking about the best league in the world where people do that, so it's certainly a viable strategy, as we are seeing now. A bit of bullying here. Oxford did enough shopping and now looking for the fight. The Viper ulti is going to connect. That is 2 stun, the double stun there. Beautiful stuff. Is going to lay low Spark and his teammate. Not very nice for them, but very nicely done there by Oxford.
Yeah, and nearly found himself in a tough situation because it was actually Sephiroth who took so much damage initially. But the ult does come through, they find the double stun, and I think it was the F-pop of the Monk as well to reduce the damage input. But here comes the transform, and in Titans do call, and that's going to call the name of that remaining player for Team Number 8 as it's all up to Char. Left alive, tries to grapple himself out of trouble, but I think for him it's just going to be a tough spot to see himself try and navigate out of. He does eventually get away though, as that transform does eventually get burned, but Asha's not going to let him go for free. Where are you going? Come back here. That's why the grapple's so good. But for Sephiroth now, finds himself once again in the 2 versus 1. Does eventually fall. That's going to be Burnsy to pick up the kill onto him. And on the other side, it is Char trying to keep himself alive. Asher, though, is going to have his shield chunked all the way through. Started off with blue, but down to none. But it doesn't matter because the counter comes through. That's going to be the kill. Char Smith does end up falling, and all players still left alive here for the side of Coventry Phoenix, and well, none of them needing to rise from the ashes just yet, but they're putting on a bit of a hot show so far, at least in that engagement anyway.
Dude, what is this guy's customization? He's green, he's got pointy ears, he's a goblin! It's the Grinch! No! We're not even in December yet and he's already come through to steal everything. That's not good, man. Oh my goodness. Holy moly.
Christmas cosplays.
I thought we had another week of safety, but no. Nowhere's safe from the Grinch, man. If he wants it, he comes and gets it. He's still alive, knocking about. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for him. See if he can keep the woes going, or if another team will be able to challenge him. Put some pressure on him and his friends. Now spectating the University of Nottingham and Small Bun. Just working their way around the map here. Grey armor, grey weapons, certainly not going to be too much to write home about. Definitely nothing that these two will want to go into the final circle with. Once it all becomes like big fights and all that kind of lovely business. Very scary stuff. As, oh no, Small Bun's run into a lot of danger here. It's the University of Manchester. Gonna be finding that fight. Small Bun is trying their best to survive, but they're burning. They're burning, and they're done. They're torched. They're out of there, unfortunately for them. Those legendary weapons are just a little bit too strong. Turns out legendary versus grey does favour those legendary weapons. We've got 3 teams here, though, now. Loughborough. Not Kill, that's not Kill, that's Nottingham. And Manchester all dueling it out. Doing their best here. Loughborough on the run, trying to survive. But it is Manchester coming out on top. And my goodness. I mean, Manchester, just absolutely insane. Really putting in the hurt here. You can see these guys, just from the mechanics and the way that they navigate the map. Very, very solid players here. They're going to have to be the team to beat, you would imagine. So many kills already as well. It's 19 kills to their name, if my math does not mistake me. Looking at the bottom left right there, you can see the faces and the number next to the face. There's this right here, who's this? Team number 9. Staffordshire have 7 kills, which is honestly a pretty impressive amount, but just goes to show how well Manchester have been doing so far in game number 1.
Yeah, Manchester, they're a team we highlighted for being experienced NARAKA players, and we can see why. And, well, unfortunately, Zam is going to eventually fall. So 2 players left alive. It's going to be Zeno and Otten. And although Otten is in the transform, it is going to be a stun that does come through. And for the side of Kiel, the Mac, unfortunately, is in the hands of that Titan, but doesn't manage to get the final slam down. Zeno is relatively low. The grapple does come through. It's going to be Hawkeye to eventually find that one. And, well, it's going to be 2 for the price of none here. And unfortunately, for the side of Staffordshire, it is up to Otten left alive. But the Krakens, one thing they do best by name and by nature, they go hunting. They're trying to hunt for the final kill. And I think, though, Otten does just escape. But Demaji is going to go hunting and try and find that player. The whole side of Kill Krakens, they want this elimination point. They want to try and up themselves in the kill multiplier. They've already got 11 to their name, and they're hunting for number 12.
The Staffordshire Sixers. I do like that name. Unfortunately, it's not doing anything for them to help them win so far in this one. It's just that one man left, as you mentioned, Otten. Still trying to run. Orki and Demaji coming through here, trying to find something. They may have just given up, though. Just going for some loot instead. It's going to be difficult here. So this is the point of the game if you are Otten, if you are from Staffordshire. You're trying to kind of like... I mean, you got one guy left. You're against multiple different teams still. It is looking difficult, right? So what you got to do in this situation is just play for the positional points, right? You're probably not going to get any more kills, okay? It's 1 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3. Like, it's probably not going to happen. So instead, you just try and run around and hide as best you can. Try and squeeze your way into those little circles that come through. And try and finish as high as you can. Try and salvage something out of this first game. This is where the strategy kind of comes into it a little bit. We'll see if Otten can do that, or if he's just going to run into some bad guys, which is precisely what he's done here. The Kraken, they've spotted him. Well, they're going to go for this one. Demaji is going for quite a cheeky strategy here, little tactic where you can run into the circle to go for a bit of loot, see if it's worth it. Later on into the game, that becomes less and less worth it, because the circle does more damage to you if you stay outside it. But legendary armor and weapons, certainly nothing to sniff at. Probably going to be the team here. The Kraken here to try and challenge Manchester. Fortunately for them, sure, their gear may be good, but there's only 2 of them alive. And, you know, I didn't do maths at university. Didn't do anything at university because I didn't go. But I do believe that 3 is a greater number than 2. And that should work in Manchester's favour.
Yeah, well, hopefully, and speaking of Manchester, we're going to jump straight back on board with them because they spotted the Lions, and usually the Predators have suddenly become the prey here as Quill trying to duck and dodge his way out of trouble, has got Kirby to work with, but oh my, look at the damage output here. Already, they have got the legendary weapons as well as the purples as well, so the side of Manchester, they're going to be so hard to beat. Look at the damage output that we see. And yes, okay, the abilities do come back through. The F is eventually going to be popped to should probably finish off the kill, and Kirby somehow staying alive with a sliver of HP, but for the side of Salford Lions here, they are fighting with absolute fire here, and well, ladies and gentlemen, if you fight with fire, odds on, you're gonna get burnt, and it's the side of Manchester that just put them out left, right, and centre. As Manchester now, they climb their way up to 27. Yes, you heard that right here.
That's
game
mental.
number 1 at the NARAKA Invitational for these university squads. 27 kills, and they want more here. They're now going after the side of Warwick Esports.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is just insane stuff right here. Manchester are going absolutely ham. There's 9 players left alive. Sir Scrub from the University of Warwick is trying his best to get away from this one, but I don't think there's any mercy coming through from Manchester. They're going to keep the pain going. They're going to hunt him down and bring him down. It's not enough at the end of the day. Legendary weapon and armor going to go over to Manchester. Just when you thought these guys couldn't get any spookier, any scarier, any stronger, they do by bringing down the bad guys with the good gear, taking it for themselves. You have to feel at this point now, this game is all but Manchester's to lose. Few more players left here. It does say there are 9 alive, but it was saying that before Mr. Scrub fell down as well, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but at least there is the Kraken still standing, plus Manchester, and it would appear as though maybe one more team after that, unless there is, you know, some kind of spectator thing going on or whatnot. I'm not sure, but either way, not a lot of players going through here, and that is the important point right now. Who is going to be able to find that upper advantage?
Well, if I'm correct, I think we've got just 2 teams left. If I'm correct, other than the Manchester squad, we've got Kale Manchester, and I just taking a little look as to who the third. Actually, it's not even 3 squads. It's 4 squads. We've got a duo, which is going to be the Sixers, of course, which is from the side of Staffordshire Sixers. You've got one player, which is going to be Meow, left alive for the side of the Arctic Foxes. So
look at him go.
It's safe to say the old rivalry between Manchester and Liverpool not only stays strong in the footballing and the real world, but also here on NARAKA. But it's going to take a monstrous effort here for that solo player to take down the 3 players from the side of Manchester University. So either way, you got to say, with just 4 squads left and the numbers advantage very much in favour of Manchester, they're looking likely here to pick up at least game number 1 and put themselves in a fantastic spot. And oh my god, I've just realised that Meow's actually just vibing up in a tree at the moment. I love it. I love the play. Sneaky beaky like indeed. And well, one player that's not being sneaky is going to be one of the players from the side of Manchester, but I can't say this enough. Every single attack, whether it be one of the charge attacks or just a standard default attack, is just absolutely brutal and devastating. And well, Otin, he's going to be forced to pop that transform once again. He managed to escape the line of sight for the squad of Manchester early on, but it doesn't look like he's going to be to much avail anymore as he eventually falls. That's going to be the 30th kill on the board here for the side of Manchester in game number 1. This has been an absolutely formidable and devastating game 1 performance from the squad from Manchester.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you're correct. It's 30 kills, man, and this... there's still a few more on the board to collect too. I don't think they're done right now. It's going to be tough, but as you mentioned, Lumiao is just hiding out as best he can. Don't think he's going to want the fire brigade to come rescue him. He's just going to try and sit there, try and get that high finish. It's not kills, but it's something. At least you get to get some points on the board for that one, and then you just kind of say, you know what, this wasn't our game. We'll go into game number 2 and try and get some kills in that one instead. Manchester are back at it though, back doing Manchester things, finding themselves another set of victims. It's Kiel this time around though. These are 2 full 3-man squads. Will Kiel be able to do something a little bit challenging into Manchester? It looks like they're actually going for it. This could be pretty good right here. The Justina taking a lot of damage in this one. Excuse me, this is not Justina. This is the Kurumi. Just trying our best to survive, trying to run away from this one. Might be able to get out for now. I was not expecting that. That was a good return there from Kiel. I thought Manchester were going to roll all over this one, but definitely bringing down some competition here. Excellent stuff right now. I think I'm chatting utter rubbish though. This is just going to be so difficult to stabilize from. Orky trying his best, but he is going to fall. Now it's just Doma, the last one standing from Kiel. Don't think he's long for this world either. Manchester, they did it. They brought down Kiel, the biggest competition for them, and then it's just the Liverpool, the last man standing. Not going to last very long either, and there it is, Manchester. Bringing down the pain, bringing home the victory, and my goodness, was that a dominant game number 1.
I think it was 33 kills to pick up a win. Listen, we knew that there was a few teams here that had come in that had never played the game before. Manchester was one of the teams that had fielded a trio that have competed in NARAKA for a little while when they were familiar with the game. But I didn't think it was going to be that one-sided and that dominant, to say the least. It was almost like Manchester come out and had a point to prove that they were like the best in the lobby, because every single engagement that they saw, they wanted to take. There was one moment, though, towards the end of the game in that fight with the Krakens, where it looked like that they might have bitten off a slightly more than they could chew. And it was the engagement where we saw both players have, I think it was a gold armor and a gold weapon. I think one had, maybe both of them had a set of nunchucks, I'm not too sure. And it was that first engagement where they knocked one player down to sort of 1 HP for the side of Manchester, and they had to try and secure that kill, because whoever got the first kill in that engagement was always going to win that team fight. And unfortunately for the side of kill, it was Manchester. But early doors, it was the side of Warwick really that sort of shone and set the lobby on fire. But then maybe that awoke the fire in the belly of Manchester, maybe.
Yeah, quite possibly. Like you say, Warwick was... well, they got things started. They set the pace for the early side of this game. Really some good stuff, picking up some of those kills early. Strong aggression right there, and we did expect some things coming out of Warwick early on, so I wasn't too surprised to see that happening. Kiel did surprise me though a little bit here. The Kraken certainly getting some good plays happening, which I wasn't really looking for coming into this game. It wasn't a team that was on my radar, but they did impress with that, and even the way they went toe to toe in Manchester in the end here, team number 13 that you're seeing, or that you were seeing in that replay, was quite impressive. And we'll see now that, you know, the teams have kind of gotten a bit of a feel for each other. What happens here in game number 2? As how could I forget the Grinch cosplay from Coventry Phoenix getting a few kills here as well. Yeah, it was a pretty hectic game to start with. Very aggressive. The fact that the game finished with, like, you know, 7 minutes left on the timer. Sometimes it's more likely that you see these games go down to that last minute when that circle really closes in. But it was just pure dominance here from Manchester. The rest of these highlights, you're just going to see this team number 13, the Chinese players here, absolutely dominating. As you said in the end there, like 34 kills, I think it was in total. Really insane stuff, and exceptionally dominant.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one thing that really impressed me about Manchester was the way that they sort of navigated and controlled every single team fight that they was in, whether it was sort of a 3 versus 3, right up to sort of when we saw on the edge of the cliff by the watchtower where there was like 5 teams all engaging. What they do so well is they know when to isolate and target one particular team or person when they're hit low, and from there they'll send someone in on the grapple, they'll charge up an attack to try and knock the other player back towards their 2 other remaining teammates, and they'll just pick people off one by one. It's sort of like they are really stalking and hunting their prey, and they just take every single advantage. But I think we are going to take a little look at the leaderboards now, if I'm correct, Dan, after that game number 1, and it wouldn't surprise me to see who sat. Oh my god, that is a big point gap already after game number 1.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, we were expecting Manchester to come out pretty high there. Had a lot of kills, pretty spooky stuff, and good heavens, 34 kills, almost 60 points. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna top that. I mean, if we take a look outside of number 1, obviously, massively running away with that, like from 2, 3, and 4. Relatively close, sort of. You know, I would say like these teams can certainly compete with each other. We were looking at Warwick coming into Oxford and Manchester Met, actually the other Manchester team, who finished in 13. Maybe it was honestly, maybe we just got the teams wrong. Maybe we're actually meant to be looking at the other Manchester University. But no, like it's yeah, like I think it's competitive outside of that. That first spot was pretty crazy, but yeah, absolutely ridiculous game 1. We'll see what happens in the second.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see how Manchester could literally not play 2 more games and everyone else play the same way they did, and they'll still be top of the leaderboard, basically. So devastating, to say the least. But after that successful game number 1, we are going to throw to a quick but short and sweet break before myself and Dan are back here with lots more NARAKA action. We'll be here for game number 2 in just a few moments. Well, it's safe to say game number 1 here at the University Invitational for NARAKA BLADEPOINT was very, very interesting in terms of seeing one team just absolutely devastate and run around and destroy the whole lobby. My name's John P. John once again, of course, by Foxdrop. What a game number 1 we saw, but what a game number 1 we saw from the University of Manchester, should I say, Dan?
Yeah, it was definitely the Manchester show. It was very impressive stuff. They ran around, they destroyed everyone, they got 34 kills, almost 60 points. It really wasn't close. These guys are certainly the favourites for today, you have to imagine. But outside of those guys destroying, we had some people show up, which I was quite impressed by. I think Kill specifically were quite impressive. Warwick did some good things as well. Staffordshire, I think, were not too bad either. Like, I want to see these guys can really try and pull away from the rest of the team and maybe try and contest with Manchester. That's going to be tough to do, but if it's anyone that can do it, it's one of those teams for sure.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of, close engagements when it come to talk about sort of the middle of the pack, right? From the likes of, second right through down to the likes of 8th and 9th place. They were separated by a few kills or a few points here and there. It was only the University of Manchester that really shone and stood out from the rest in terms of maybe being a class and a step above them on the ladder. But yeah, definitely it'll be interesting to see the likes of Warwick, so in particular the Krakens, like you mentioned. They were the only team that sort of did any damage and nearly even eliminated a player from the side of the University of Manchester. But of course, that was game number 1 out the way on Mora's Isle. We're now heading over to Holorov. A little bit of a different style of play, usually associated with this map, if I'm correct, but we'll have to wait and see how things kick off here in game number 2 anyway.
Yeah, things do change, generally speaking, from Morrisal to Holorov. Some strategies mix up a little bit. Normally it comes in the form of the final circle. The final circle where there's not a lot of room to navigate. Tends to just be a bit different, but I don't think we're really getting to those points, honestly, because it's just so much fighting beforehand, as you can see on your screen. Like, my goodness, 3 teams going at it right there, but it is University of Salford coming out on top. It's going to bring down Warwick, of all teams, as well. Warwick being one of the better squads that we see here in the universities. Just kind of, had a great start last game on the Morrisal. Not so hot in this one so far, but it's all good. Still everything to play for here early on. Doesn't really matter if you die. You have those resurrections, you have those revives. Means you can go aggressive early on, and if you do die, it's cool. It's whatever, man. Low risk, high reward. You can get some of those points to help you finish high, get those kill scores. And if you die, you just res. You're sorted. You're done. But of course, if you die more than once, then it's not good. So you only have 1 resurrection available. We're seeing now Lancaster trying their hand against University of Salford, trying to see if they can succeed where Warwick failed. And right here, New Light certainly not on the right pace here. Kirby bringing the pain. And there it is, just the finisher with the nunchucks. Gonna get another kill. Brilliant start here for Salford. 4 kills already under their belt. Looking for a little bit more as well, as Warwick is back for revenge. Salford up against the University of Warwick. I think Warwick have the upper hand. Wesley's already done. Kirby forced to pop the immune. Cool is not near. He's just joined the fight right here, but he won't be able to contribute a huge amount. The Justina falls, and now it's just the Karumi, the support style hero, all by herself. Not where she wants to be, and she dies.
Yeah, it's I kind of understand what we saw there from Salford. I mean, they backed themselves to fight Warwick once. However, when Warwick come back with a slightly little better loadout, they all had the blue armor just compared to, I think it was a couple grey armors for the side of Salford. It's always going to be a tough task to try and navigate. But well, speaking of our game number 1 winners and how aggressive and kill hungry they like to get, they already have found 1. It's going to be Phantom Scythe, unfortunately, heading to the grave this time. Going to be Fallen. That is number 11. The University of Liverpool. There's no way that he just fell. That is unfortunate from the side of the University of Liverpool. So that's going to be a resurrection needed to burn back up. Voxus, unfortunately, left alive. No one else there to help him out from the side of Lancaster Uni. And when you're running into 3 players from the side of Warwick, but this is actually a solo player from the side of the University of Manchester who's just come through and absolutely destroyed one player from the side of Lancaster Uni. So we have somewhat got a 3-team engagement here, even though we are down to 2 solos and a squad of the trios. So New Light trying to get himself away from danger as quickly as possible, but Sir Scrub is hot on the tail. The knockback is going to come through, so that's going to force New Light to just slightly navigate himself away, and the grapple is denied from the side of Warwick. A huge clutch knock from one of the players, and although we are going to see the ult popped through from New Light to somehow get himself out of trouble, the grapple does allow him to get himself up and towards that Cliff side, but the side of Warwick, they're hungry, they smell blood, they smell a free kill and a free kill multiplier for themselves. The F is popped again. New Light still somehow managed to duck and dodge his way out of trouble. Initially is going to be caught in the end. It's Sir Scrub to find the kill. And well, you got to say, unfortunately for the side of Warwick, here comes that solo player from the side of Manchester.
Yeah, it's all good, it's all fun and games until Manchester shows up to ruin the party. And they just split off into like 3 different solo squads. Like they're all just doing their own thing. It's like you go over here, I'll go over here. Like genuinely, I haven't seen them grouped up once this game. I think they're generally fancying their chances 1 versus 3. I mean, so far it's working. They have 9 kills. They've not used a single one of their resurrections. They are genuinely that dominant here. Really, really impressive stuff. As De Montfort now is going to throw down the gauntlet, get some kills for themselves as well. Fluffy able to finish that one off. Some good gear as well here for De Montfort. Might be looking to try and put a bit of pain down onto some of the other teams and just pray you don't run into one of the Manchester lots. Kiel now our focus of the plays now against Durham University. Kiel, one of our better teams from game number 1, finishing 2nd overall. We're actually able to bring down a lot of hurt into the lobby, did a lot of good stuff, and a huge fight is breaking out right here. I can't even tell what's going on, who's going to come out on top. Kiel doing their best, running into Salford now as well. Durham, Kiel and Salford all fighting it out in this one. Kiel trying to bring down the victory, trying to bring it home. They don't have a single kill to their name just yet. A little bit of squirrel play up here, hiding in the top of the tree with that musket, throwing down some pain. Westy going to be on the receiving end of that one. Just get a little bit of chip damage before flying down with the spear, trying to get down that hurt. Kirby now popping the ulti on the Justina, trying to get away, get a little bit of reset, get a bit of shielding in as well. We do have a member down though from Kiel. It looks like Salford might be on top of this one. May just have that situation, may just have that position they want. Having said that, of course, it's Thimac bringing down Cool, and now Kiel are the ones on top once more. Kirby just dashing around, trying to find something with those nunchucks. It is 2 versus 1 right here, and Kirby 101 not going to last much longer. You have to feel he's going down. The grapple's good, hooks him in place, and Kiel win the fight versus Salford.
Yeah, and Mac nearly found himself in a dire spot because I'm not too sure if he was paying attention to the durability rating on his weapons. Both fell down to 0 and had to actually stop to repair his weapon mid-fight and well killed. The Krakens, they're not done just there. They now steer their attention over towards the side of Durham University. However, the health department not looking too great on some of those Kraken members. But it's not looking even better, though, for Crossed Mooners. It's Hawkeye to find the first damage output comes through. The F is going to be popped, followed by the ulti. And just like that, the side of Kiel Krakens, they've turned this advantage that I thought the side of Durham would have had straight onto the heads. And it's going to be Kiel who now go hunting once again for this remaining player. Awesome. You're not looking too awesome right now. You're looking pretty donezo, my friend, as the shield instantly going to be cracked through down to just a sliver of blinking HP. And the Krakens, they go hunting. They're hungry. They find their prey. And it's going to be Awesome who falls.
Very nicely done, Kiel now. 7 kills for their team. Just a moment ago, they had 0. How the tides have turned for them. Swapping over now, the University College London. These guys only have 2 players, by the way. They weren't able to field a full roster. Trying to make that hero-ness happen. It's Spark and Lichard up against De Montfort. Unfortunately for them, I don't think it's going. I don't think it's working. Spark's already fallen. Now it is simply the Transformer, the Titan, here from Monk. Everyone scatters away, and then as soon as he comes back to his pathetic little human form, they all pick on him, they all bully him, and they're gonna bring him down. That's gonna be them out of it. All done with their De Montfort coming out on top. Certainly not easy to play a game like NARAKA, a 3-team setup here when you've only got 2. Liverpool being the other university that wasn't able to field a full roster either. Unfortunately for them, it is going to be quite tricky. Maybe they can play spoiler, do some really, really sneaky plays and catch people out of position. I mean, Manchester are showing you only need 1 player to take down whole squads. There is the potential to try and do some things, but it's going to be difficult for those guys and not going to have too much fun running into those full squads.
Yeah, and I mean, we speak about it a lot in Battle Royale esports, right? Having numbers advantage in the later stages of the game, but for a game like NARAKA as well, where it's so important that you do not only individual damage, but when you fight as a team, you know, you utilize the ult combinations well, your standard combos with your normal F ability and the charge ups as well on your default attacks. So, you know, you don't want to be having the likes of 3 sets of nunchucks or dual blades swinging at you at the same time. It's hard enough to fight one of them on their own, let alone having a full powerhouse of a trio lineup, you know, fighting all together. But well, speaking of a trio fighting, the Kel Krakens, they've just gone from 1 or 2 fights into another one. It's going to be Fluffy forced to pop the transform. Doma is going to eventually get himself out of trouble, but so much damage is being done that the fact that I think Fluffy actually had to pick his teammate up and dash him out of trouble to try and keep him alive. But here comes team number 7. That's going to be the side of Manchester Met. We've already seen the side of University of Manchester light up the kill feed. Can the other squad from Manchester do the same? Fluffy, he's hot on his heels. He's scooting his way out of trouble, but unfortunately, when the Mac's in town, the Mac finds kills, or at least the side of the KO Krakens do. That player should eventually fall. It's going to be Sodium who drops. Domo's the one who finds and claims the life of Sodium. And the side of KO Krakens, although they've actually only got what I think is about 7 or 8 kills on the kill department, they have been doing so much damage and lighting this game up right now.
I really have. All spotlight on these guys. Very impressive stuff, and to be honest, somewhat expected considering what we saw out of them in game number 1. Definitely some impressive plays coming through from them then, and some impressive plays coming through from them now. They're really just a whole wrecking ball here. Trying to find the fights as best they can. As many victims as possible, racking up those kill numbers. As you mentioned, only really sitting on 8 here. Not as high as they would like, but they have found themselves some more. One of them, however, is that University of Manchester lone wolf. You might just want to run away from this one as much as they want to split up and try and get as many kills as possible, taking those 1-player fights. I'm not sure the Kiel Kraken's the team you want to do it against. Manchester Met University as well here. Looking like they might just fall down, but it's all going to be the University of Manchester trying to turn it around. They're grouped up a little bit here, and as soon as that happens, you can see the pain. It's all coming through right now. The Kiel Krakens has found their match. Doma is going to fall. He's out of there. The rest of his teammates trying to avenge him. Thamak now is going to be the target for the University of Manchester. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to get away from this one. It's a good knockback. But it's going to be tricky. Hawkey as well, doing things where he can, popping that ultimate on the Tarka G, but it's a great left click, a great horizontal slash on that longsword. So good at keeping distance away. So good for playing spoiler right there and saying, no, you stay away from me, man. I'm going to hit you from far away, from downtown, and Thamak falls. The University of Manchester keep the domination up, and this just isn't any other team they're doing this against. This is Kiel, man. This is the team that we were hyping up all day long. These guys have had a great start to game number 2. They were destroying everyone until, of course, they came into the crosshairs of the University of Manchester, and it's all come floundering for them. The Kings have reclaimed their throne. Easy as you like there for the University of Manchester, looking to put game number 2 away as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was only a duo with Manchester as well. I'm not too sure where the third player was. I couldn't spot him out, but well, it's the side of Warwick University, and the University of Warwick, should I say, and Oxford going toe to toe. And well, here's the final member of the of Manchester. The team's fighting, and unfortunately, it's going to be Seprock who offers a large chunk of damage output, but that fight is completely flipped on its head as a huge piece of damage comes through from that solo player. Here comes the transform, though, from one of the players, and just like that, I think eventually they should find this final bit of damage onto this remaining Manchester player, but no, we do see the armor get put back up to full purple, and well, Charsmith, unfortunately, it's going to be the side of Warwick to come and spoil the day, and we're in a 1v1. Sir Scrub in the engagement against a solo player from Manchester, and well, that is going to be a huge knockdown. Can he get away? He tries to dip his way out of trouble, but the grapple does come through, and with 3 players from Warwick eventually coming to the aid, I think, did we see? There's 2 other players from Manchester come and support the squad. They're making their way over here, so this could be a tough spot. And just like that, the players from the side of Warwick, they're going to have their first player fall, make it the second player, and it's all up to Angelic Nova, who wants the squad from Manchester come calling. No one can seem to compete.
Oh man, it was so close right there, so close to bringing down Manchester's player. And that's it. Is that it? That's not it. Sorry. Oh my goodness. That's the. I thought that was the final.
I thought that was the game.
Yeah. No. That's definitely not it. Oh my goodness. No, that was. You know. No. It was the Karumi as well from Manchester. Like the support hero. They almost killed it. But just the healing came through. It was way too much. Sir Scrub almost. Man, he must be kicking himself as well. Like he's got such a good loadout. Really nice stuff. But just not quite able to do it. And then the rest of the University of Manchester came through, protecting their teammate, bringing down University of Warwick. Not good right there. It's now just Sir Scrub all by himself. Very lonely place to be. Must be pretty cold up there as well. There's nothing worse than that. No warmth from the temperature, no warmth from the fires of friendship. He's all by himself. His heart must be very, very cold. And that's not a place where you want to be here in NARAKA. At least he got some kills under his belt before that happened. As Coventry Phoenix are being spotted out here. De Montfort University, Hydro is going to find 3 people. Pops the ulti and hits every single one and chops them down. My goodness, man. Did that just happen? Holy moly. They all just lined up perfectly. Holy crap, Hydro, that was absolutely disgusting. He throws them all into one spot and just chops them down, man. That was utterly just, oh my goodness. Into the blender, they all fall down.
Yeah, it's safe to say I think that's going to be the talk of the Discord server for a little while for the Montfort Hydro and his ridiculousness, to say the least. And, you know, you got to say, the Montfort Uni, they've been a team that they've actually really impressed me when we've seen them fight together as a unit. They seem to know what they're doing and work around and complement each other so well. I think it was just unfortunate the first time they actually had a team fight in the last game. I think it was up against that side of Manchester Uni. So looking a little bit better here in game number 2 so far. They've actually put themselves, we'll set up a massive correct 13 kills on the board so far, and have now made their way into the safe area relatively nicely over towards Grizzly Rise, and just going to locate themselves and try and gather a little bit of loot. Not looking the best in terms of the armor department. Would like to see that grow to the likes of a purple or a gold when that should become available. Has got a decent bit of weaponry though in terms of the purple katana to work with, and I think Fluffy has got that purple spear or a purple longsword as well. So not looking too shabby at the moment for the side of the Montfort. As I mean, you got to say, the lobby has slowly but surely started to quiet down into what we expected to see from the likes of a Horoth game. But oh boy, we mentioned at the start that Horoth is traditionally sometimes a little bit more of a slower pace map. It's been anything but that here at the University Invitational for NARAKA BLADEPOINT. It's been an aggressive start from all teams involved, and well, we've only got 9 remaining players, and I'm not too sure if we've got trios across the board. This, of course, is only going to be a duo for the side of the Montfort. So we're looking at maybe around 3 or 4 teams left in this game here, Dan, but already, you've got to say, I've been really impressed here with some of these players from the university scene.
Yeah, for sure. Some of these guys are really stepping up, and more teams than I was expecting, honestly, coming into this. Like, I didn't have Kiel on my radar, I did not have the Montfort on my radar. They've certainly stepped up a little bit here and done some good stuff, really. As you mentioned, there's only 9 players alive. Charles Smith here is all by himself. As I'm losing my voice here for Oxford. Just chilling and trying to finish as high as he can. Obviously, you've got the University of Manchester. You've got a few coming through from De Montfort, and here is University College London. Lichard trying his best. Is he just toying with him? Is he just toying with him? I think the University of Manchester may be giving a little bit of mercy over here, but I don't think it's going to be long-lived. Lichard is trying to... Oh my goodness, that's a good little shot as well. You can see that, just the way that these guys move around. Very impressive stuff. He's trying to get a few little... chips down here with that ranged weapon. Literally just running out of places to run, though. That circle is closing in. It's a very small circle as well at this point. It's going to be difficult, as now we can see Lichard is trying to go around for the turn. Is going to go for the fight with those dual blades. Not quite sure he's going to find a lot of help because he's just getting shot down. Oh man, they're just playing with handicap on at this point. Refused to use his melee weapons. Just shot him. Just endless shootings. Finally brings him down.
I feel like I'm back in my Call of Duty days trick shotting because I've just seen a player commit to fully 360 and with a musket only and somehow still pick up the kill while the player's charging at him with, I think he had what, like purple dual blades or something like that. And oh my god, look at the loot.
Yeah.
Look at the loot stack here from across the board for the side of Manchester. One player with gold armor. We've got full purple weapons across the board for every single player. Stack up. The soul jades are looking fantastic as well. Lots of grapple hooks on board. And that's when you know you've got a good NARAKA player, right? Where they really prioritize having a lot of grapples and hooks on board because it helps with that movement so well. And that's something we've highlighted from this Manchester uni side because the way they just, you even saw it in that engagement. He was pop shotting on 360 and while navigating the map, you know, sort of mid-air and in the air 9 times out of 10. So yeah, for the rest of this lobby, they're still gonna have to try and put up with the annoyance and the thorn in the side that seems to be the side of the University of Manchester at the moment. But for the side of the Montfort, they've spotted a nice old tree that they've taken a liking to. They're just hanging out, investigating the bark, seeing whether or not the autumn leaves will be falling sooner rather than later here on Horoth. But either way, we're now into that stage where I think players know that they've got to just try and edge their way into the zone as nicely as possible and survive for those placement points because I think those kill multipliers have probably already been confirmed by the likes of Manchester and I'll probably even say the Montfort. They've got like 13 odd kills, so the kill multiplier for them is going to be pretty decent in this game as well. So other than that, the rest of the solos that are left alive, they're going to be just trying to play for those placement points.
Yeah, indeed, and you know, Kill Kraken was a squad that we were looking at. We had a lot of focus on them in this game because they were doing a lot of really cool stuff, and then they unfortunately fell out. You know, it was like 5-6 minutes ago, and this is kind of the risk reward of playing aggressively in NARAKA. Like if you go for those kills and you hunt those kills down, like yeah, you know you can get kills and that gives you points and that's beautiful. We love that. But if you find yourself in a pickle, you run into a squad that has your number, as the University of Manchester has for everyone in this lobby, really. You know, and you get knocked out. You know, if you don't have those revives up, you're just done. And so like they had a lot of kills, but they're not going to get particularly high on this finished multiplier at all. And they will suffer for that in the final scores as it goes through here. We're seeing again though, the musket only challenge for the Karumi is going to keep going here, and it's I mean, they don't just kill him, man. Just kill him. It's not even. There we go. Okay, he's now just going for it here. I felt a little bit bad. You know that your opponent's toying with you, and then as soon as he turns it on, like he gets the parry, he gets the kill. He's all beautiful. It's all donezo. Yeah, very nice stuff. I should correct myself. That is not the Karumi. The Karumi is the other player on their team. I'm getting a little bit mixed up with his teammates there. Yeah, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. 6 guys alive. 3 of those being the University of Manchester. 2 of those being the De Montfort University. And I believe the last one may be Oxford. I can't quite tell. It was Sir Scrub, whichever team he's played for. Actually, I think that's Warwick, right? I think it's Warwick. So we've got a few different teams left alive here, but it's looking like Manchester, again, going to roll their way to victory here in game number 2.
Yeah, and you know, this is the tough conversation we have as casters all the time, is do we like to see teams sort of like styling on players in the lobby because they know they'll probably win and kill them, or do we like to see sort of like the sportsman etiquette come through and they just play the game seriously? I think it's a bit of a mixed bag of emotions, and I don't mind it here, especially with the likes of the university scene. I think it's a little bit more catered to, you know, the likes of that style of play. But Manchester, like you said, though, every time they decide to turn it on, it's almost like they're not even really trying to find the kills. And even now, look, Sir Scrub, I think you can safe to say it's going to be a bit of a tough task. Is this player actually just letting him heal up?
Yeah, this is a gentleman's duel. I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, sometimes you just respect it here, right? I think they're just hanging out. They're friends in and out of the game, maybe. You know, friendly rivalry, nothing too shabby. Oh, okay, it's in a 3 versus 1. That's why we're seeing this, I think. I think they're just like, all right, Scrub, you can grab what you need to grab, my friend. I think they're trying to go for the musket only kills as well on to this Romanian player. And although Sir Scrub, he's fought diligently, he's fought his heart out until the very end, but it should be the trio of Manchester here who do find the kill also much overduely, and they are going to pick themselves up a back-to-back win here in the NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational. And how many kills is that? It's going to be a 28 kill game, so a 33 or 34 kill game, followed by, you know, the likes of a big old performance like that. It's going to be tough for any of these teams to catch this Manchester squad at the top of the leaderboard, man.
Yeah, I feel like Manchester are pretty good, to be honest with you. Not too bad at all. Let's take a look at the highlights of that game. A lot of teams stepped up in this one in game number 2. It wasn't all just University of Manchester, although they did take it away towards the end. We saw the University of Salford, Warwick as well, making some good plays, and of course the Kiel Krakens did some good stuff as well, as this, you know, in that early and mid stages of the game. A lot of punishment coming down here, a lot of bullying. Lancaster University being one of the victims, as you saw there. The strategy for the University of Manchester, team number 13, definitely was unique in this one. In the trios, we play it like it's solos, and every single one of your players just splits off, and you solo hunt kills down. I can't say I've seen that strategy before, but it seemed to work for them, so that's nice. Good for them. It was certainly something unique, and yeah, still able to pick up some of those kills. But as mentioned, Salford team number 15 able to bring it down. Team number 4 was the Kiel Krakens. It was actually one of the better fights that we had with that previous fight, as you saw in that last replay. Durham as well able to do some cute stuff. Team number 3 here. It's a little bit, not too much. Obviously, a very difficult one to influence here. The Kiel Kraken were on a huge tear until they were brought down by the University of Manchester. And De Montfort, of course, didn't even mention these guys, but they made it really far into this game with that Transformer comp. Doing some good stuff, a lot of kills under their belt as well. I believe it was maybe around like the 15 kill mark for these guys. So a lot of good stuff for a lot of different teams, and I'm actually quite curious to see, you know, outside of the University of Manchester, who can step up for games number 3 and games number 4, because, you know, I really do think we can we can have a lot of different teams really stepping up and competing for those kind of like 2nd, 3rd and 4th spots.
Yeah, I think in terms of sort of week 1 standings being on the top spot, I think that's pretty much how we expect to see it. But we'll have to wait and confirm those standings, because I don't think Warwick.
No, it said NA. I don't think.
Yeah, no one in that game got points apart from Manchester, basically. But here we go. This is how game number 2 finished off. But
is that right?
Phoenix. Apparently, we've missed 31 kills.
No, that's not right. That's not right.
We'll confirm that for you as before, at least before game 3 anyway.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say that though, yeah, for week number 1, I think it's certain who we're going to see on the top spot going into week number 2. But now it's sort of the fight for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot. But that fight for 2nd through to whatever spot it may be will come after this short break. Don't go anywhere, because myself and Dan will be back to get into game number 3 back on Morris Isle relatively soon.
Good morning, crack student gamers, and welcome to the British University Esports Championship Spring 2022. It's been a long time coming, and we're now live from Insomnia. We're back bigger than ever. We have so much going on here.
It's a place for all competitive gamers to come along. Even if you're not amazing, you can still take part, which is really nice, and you meet so many different students from different unis. It's just really nice, like a fun place to be.
And the NSC, by being at Insomnia, is really amazing. Especially a small, isolated university like Oxford, it's great to meet other students who are into esports.
So we've got a spectator area where the student communities come and they're meeting up for the first time in probably 2 years, getting to meet, getting to watch the finals, and then we've also got the teams on stage playing against each other. And then also we've got a student LAN as well, as kind of like a mini LAN in a wider bring your own computer over the weekend. Super grateful for our sponsors. Our headline partner is Intel. We're also partnered with Barclays, Monster Energy, providing loads of Monster Energy to keep everyone fueled over the weekend, PC Specialist, Special Effects, and we're also partnered with Bucks as well.
Everyone in the university scene is so welcoming and so lovely. You don't see people like this anywhere else, like in a community together. And it's just all about creating those connections with different people, and it's just really amazing.
Hello, welcome back to Games Are Done. We are now at our halfway stage here for the NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational. My name is John P, joined by Dan once again. And I don't want to say it's been a little bit of a one-sided affair so far, Dan, but I think that's probably the only way that we can probably describe this this invitational thus far. University of Manchester, clear favourites out in front. But I think the big conversation topic are the teams that are just behind them, you know, second through to about sort of even 10th spot, for example.
Yeah, for sure. They're like, Manchester's running away with it. That's fine. But as you mentioned, like everything outside of that is pretty close. Like I would say, we've got a good like three or four teams, maybe even 5 teams that are competing for that kind of like second, third spots. It is very competitive, honestly, from that side of things, certainly, and it's a lot of fun to watch. We're getting a lot of bloodthirsty games, a lot of action coming through as well, and I always like it when I'm kept on my toes and I don't really know what's going to happen and like who's going to run away with it, and I think that's what we're getting here today. Like I think, you know, between, you know, we have Warwick, we have Kiel, De Montfort did really well in that last game as well. I think Oxford is still pretty solid. Salford did some good stuff too. Like we've seen a lot of quality teams that can really try and compete against Manchester. I still just want to see Manchester, like, someone take them down, you know, like actually just get a kill. Like not even necessarily beat them, but just someone kill them would be quite nice. But I'm not sure whether it seems like a tall ask with how Manchester's been playing.
Yeah, so it's quick correction to us as casters. Sometimes we get things wrong here. We're actually going to see 2 games back to back on Hollerov, and then we're going to head back to Morris Isle for the 4th and final game. And well, Warwick sort of picking up from where they started off in game number 1, a nice aggressive start. They are going to find the first pick, but here comes team number 10 over towards them to try and shut down any sort of momentum. That's going to be the UCL, the University College of London. And they're trying to do some damage. They do find one. It's going to be Angelic Nova who falls, but not before Sir Scrub can come in and pick up Lichard just like that. The revive will come through, so Angelic Nova, no need to wait. One of those Lotus revives, to say the least, as it is going to be the side of Warwick who do come out of that engagement slightly on a favourable form. But again, the split drop looks like it's come through from the side of the University of Manchester. But team number 3, that's going to be Durham University. They're going to try and play spoilers. A lot of damage has been dealt, and somehow this player in the 1 versus 3 from the University of Manchester has got pretty much one player down to just a sliver of blinking HP. One more hit and they will be donezo. And I think, bar any sort of catastrophe here, he could look for a good 1v3. I say bar catastrophe. Write the date and time in your notebooks, ladies and gentlemen, because yes, that's right. Someone from the University of Manchester has died in a NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational game.
They did it! One of the Titans has fallen! Oh my goodness, I wonder whether that changes the University of Manchester's strategy now. Do they try and group up, or are they going to stop playing this solo versus 3 gambit that they've been doing the past 2 games? I'm not sure, but either way, we got what we wanted. University of Manchester, they can bleed. One of their players has been brought down. Of course, you got the revives, so should be back up and back in the game in no time. Shouldn't influence things too much right now as far as the grand scope of the game goes. That's the beautiful thing about this early game here in the rack. All the teams have access to those revives and those resurrections. So even if you do fall down early, you're back in the game easy peasy lemon squeezy. But hang on, that's the same player that's died. There's no... Oh, they're all dancing around his body! No, that's just rude. Oh, Durham University bringing down the BM there, and that's actually, you know, she's gone now. The Karumi is dead. Is going to have to get a revive from the teammates if she wants to get back into this game. But no more lowest resurrection. No more that's gone here. So the University of Manchester just 2 players strong now. First time we've seen any one of their players die and certainly be eliminated. It's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes things up here. We were hyping up the rest of the teams, right? Those teams that are kind of fluttering around like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Any one of those teams now could step up and maybe look to take game number 3 here.
Yeah, I've got to say my new favourite feature, or has now changed to the teabagging and the crouch spam, because let me tell you now, we just saw Yoto throwing it back for fun a minute ago, all right? And Durham were literally dumping on the side of the University of Manchester for a little bit, but they have got the duo remaining, and we've seen with the University of Manchester that only takes one player at the moment. But well, speaking of Durham, they just did great in a 3 versus 1, but seems to be they are having a bit of a tougher time when it comes to a head-to-head engagement. Somehow, though, Nom de Nom manages to grapple his way out of trouble, but here comes Sir Scrub trying to engage. It's going to be Crossed Moon who finds the grapple and a little bit of damage onto Sir Scrub, but well, Scrub trying to get it done in a bit of a tough spot here. He's going to be forced to re-engage, but the knock comes through. That's going to force a little bit of a tough spot and a bit of pill to swallow here for the side of Warwick. But guess what? Here comes Angelic Nova and the rest of the squad. It already got popped earlier on from the side of Crossed Moon, so that's not going to be available to work with. Surely Scrub somehow staying alive here. Does get knocked once again, but in the 3 versus 1, it should be a cleanup for the side of Warwick Uni. Here comes the sandstorm. Cover your faces, ladies and gentlemen, because it's gonna get windy up in here. And although you can see Wicket trying to run away, but the Temi gets caught, it's Sir Scrub to find the kill. And just like that, the tides have turned, and the side of Durham University, they are wiped out of this map.
University of Warwick bringing down the pain once again. These guys coming into today, we did have a bit of eyes looking on these. Some notion that they might be quite good at this game called NARAKA BLADEPOINT. Just in general, actually, Warwick are very, very good as a university, bringing it through competitive esports teams, and it seems like NARAKA is no exception. Good start for these guys here in the 3rd game of the day. As a reminder, we have one more coming up after this one. Warwick going to try their best to finish as highly as they can here in game number 3 and bring that success into number 4 as well, if they do want to try and pick up that 2nd spot here. Try and contest the likes of the Kill Krakens and Salford and De Montfort. Try and pick up number 2 overall from today. Now, speaking of De Montfort, though, just seeing them here, getting their own little victory on this one, winning their fight. Off to a good start already here so far for these guys. They did a good thing in game number 2 with the way they were rotating across the map and finding the kills and finding the plays. And in game number 3, they're off to a similar start as well. It helps that they're playing the Holler off back to back. I think it really does help with like a bit of momentum, but also just kind of the rhythm at which you traverse across the map and the way that you play, with the rotations and things like that. The more macro focused style of game here, when you do have that familiarity, you've just played this map, you're running it back, you're playing it again. I think that is working out in De Montfort's favour.
Yeah, and it's sort of one of the points that we highlighted at the start of the show, right, Dan, was consistency, right? And it just helps with the overall consistency, like you said, to just build that momentum. And it's okay, we know what went wrong in the last game. Let's just lock and load straight back into the same map and rectify those errors and not make the same mistakes twice, right? And I think that's, especially for the likes of Durham and De Montfort and those teams like Warwick who are hot on the tails, or I don't want to say hot on the tails, but just nibbling at the tails of Manchester, you could say. It definitely buys into the confidence factor and allows them to play a little bit more consistent over time. But I just want to highlight, I think it was Hydro on the side of De Montfort there, who did fantastically well to navigate both those kills. He found the first isolated over towards sort of the riverbed and the lake base, and whilst the player was trying to cross that river and lake, he actually grappled onto him, found the final blow, and then just turned his attention and found the final kill onto that player from the side of Oxford, who inevitably do fall. But here are Warwick, they're bringing the pain now to one of the players from the side of Manchester, who instantly blink and you miss it, gets removed off the map. And I think that player doesn't actually have the rebirth revive available to work with as well. So is that 2 players from the side of Manchester who are all but donezo at the moment? And well, the final remaining player for Manchester is going to find himself in a bit of a tough spot, because he's going to have to part with the stun momentarily, but it's only going to be used for that player from team number 14. That's the side of the University of Nottingham on your screen, to try and grapple his way out of trouble. But he's going to get caught. He is going to get found out. Does manage to slightly delay the kill ever so slightly initially, though. Or should I say ultimately does end up falling. So although for Manchester, is that trade worth it? You lose 2 players, you find one. Here comes the ult, though, out of the Yoto. That Omnius Blade's going to do so much damage, slashing down, so much damage dealt every time it lands. And with a sliver of HP left, it is going to be one of the players left alive for the side of University of Liverpool, or Nottingham, should I say, sorry, who do eventually fall. But here do come the side of Loughborough. They smell some trouble and they want to get involved, but straight away it's going to be past Assault and Rally. They're not rallying any troops at the moment as they both fall. Joined now by the side of Staffordshire University. It's just team fight after team fight. Where are you going, my friend? You're not going nowhere, because I'm going to grab you back into my arms and put you down to 1 HP. And this final player on the side of Manchester gets caught, gets slammed, gets eliminated. And the side of the Sixers, that's going to be Staffordshire. They seem to be heating up here finally in map number 3.
Oh, Staffordshire Uni just... Oh my goodness. Beautiful stuff right there. The transform there. The monk from Otteen. Absolutely delicious. The double grab to get that kill. Very nicely done. Very, very good stuff right there. Another kind of one of these wildcard teams that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Certainly can bring down the pain, as you saw there. Has some high highs. It's the consistency you want to see out of them. It's a Taka fight. It looks like right here the legendary dual blades coming through from Hydro, but that big swinging great sword from Hawkeye. Kill being kind of quiet in this game here in game number 3. Maybe feeling a little bit of pressure from what happened in game number 2, where they started off like all guns blazing. They were really aggressive, getting a lot of kills, but they went a little too aggressive. They died, and then they were like knocked out of the game, you know, really early on. Almost like at this point of the game, really it was when they fell. And maybe they're just scared of that. They don't want it to happen. Oh my goodness, I see to take a really quick break. Holy crap, it's the first time I've seen it. Doma from Kiel has red armor. I've not seen the red armor before. It's come through. For those of you who don't know, the red armor is a stage above legendary armor. It's exceptionally rare. It only appears on this map as well after you've done a specific treasure, like puzzle treasure thing. One of the chest reward from doing that. It is not common. And Doma, there it is. Legendary weapons and red armor. Blah. Gross. Disgusting. And poor Hawkeye sitting on... Hawkeye is sitting on blue armor to run around and look at Doma here with that red. That is utterly vile. Look how much health she has. 1.5k armor. It's double that of blue. That is absolutely insane. Oh my goodness, keep your eyes on that. That is so nice. That is what you want to see right there. And yeah, we'll see if that red armor can translate into something else as this game goes on.
I love how as well Doma for a second just stood there and admired it himself because it was so rare. He's probably never had it on his back before. But for the side of Coventry Phoenix, unfortunately, they are going to actually burn and fall to the ashes. They completely drop out. But, well, we wanted to see the red armor in action. I think that's what we're about to see as Doma and the squad, though. From the side of the Kiel Krakens, they're going to try and engage over towards the side of the University of Salford. We've seen Salford put up a great fight so far, but how will they match up against those legendary items? We saw the legendary dualies, if I'm correct, paired with that red armor. That's going to be that's 1v3 material on its own, let alone paired with a couple other legendary items and purples across the board. But so far, it seems to be so good for Salford. It's going to be Matt who does lose the first chunk of armor damage, but not to too much avail. Was Westy now. I say armor damage. He's going to be completely removed from that equation. Tries to get himself out of the way with the grapple hook, but is going to be caught with the knockback down. He's low HP. He's going to be falling. And now the Mac, his attention turns to try and help his squad with the rest of the squad. It's going to be Hawkeye who does eventually, I think, pick up this final kill onto that player from Salford, who is actually Kirby, has got the legendary armor to work with, so that's going to be the gold to try and keep him alive. But Doma, you've hardly even chunked onto his red. The full 3 players come through. No need for any sort of sense of panic from the Krakens because, well, they stalk the prey and they find the kill. And this side of the Kiel Krakens, they're going to be a tough old team to try and fight now with this legendary armor, with the red, with the purple now in the hands of the Max. All 3 players got a legendary weapon to work with. Is this going to be finally game number 3 here, the game where we see the Kraken rise?
It could just be, you know, we've seen, you know, I'm not quite sure what the overall status of the University of Manchester, but they were getting blown down. I think last I saw they had 1 guy left. Like, you know, that's obviously going to be the main competition here for Kiel, stopping them from getting that first place spot. And it's difficult, like, trying to place them here I've just heard that University of Manchester are out. They're eliminated. They're done. So they're exceptionally dominant gods that they are. They're done from this game. They're not going to be involved here. So this should be a really, really close one. A really, really competitive game here between these teams. Heel looking like those front runners, but you still got a lot of contenders as well. And the Staffordshire Sixers you're seeing on your screen at the top right certainly could be one of them. The fact that they've got really nice gear as well. They're very nicely kitted out, legendary armor and weapons. Really, really gonna be difficult to take those down too. Like, sure, red armor is nice, but it's not enough to win you things all by yourself. It's gonna be tricky to really bring them down, and I'm really excited to see how this game unfolds here and how we get the challenges approaching on to Kill University.
Yeah, and I think with that Manchester team, you know, being eliminated, it opens up the door for a team to put on like a 20-point kill game here and get that multiplier to try and get themselves back into the equation. But a lot of damage has been dealt. F abilities, ult's going to be popped left, right, and center. I think we actually saw Omnius Blade as well popped from one of the squads. That's going to be from team number 9 of the Staffordshire Sixers. And, well, here comes the transform, and it's going to be in the hands of Otin. A lot of damage has been dealt, especially onto this player here. That's going to be Cole's Law, who's going to have to dip his way out of trouble and get that purple armor back up into a better spot. But you mentioned, though, once the transform runs out, you become ever so much more vulnerable, and Otin, unfortunately, is going to fall. Off goes Zeno. He wants to try and keep himself alive, doesn't want to take any more damage, but Law is going to go hunting, does spot him, tries to tag him up with that musket, doing so much damage. 250, of course, every time that gun is going to tag you, but the low durability is going to force the de-engagement, and that's going to allow the Mac to come in for the side of the Keel Crackers to try and clean up shop and find that kill.
Here they come through as well. Domo with that red armor, almost out of armor. It's now the University of Warwick. If he falls down here and they take it, oh my goodness, this could be huge. He is gonna fall. Nova's found himself a big old prize right there. Oh, it's beautiful stuff. He's picked it up as well. He's put it on, and now he's gonna repair it. Oh, imagine getting it. Imagine getting the red armor and then losing it to your rivals as well. Suddenly now Kill Krakens, you have to feel they're not the favourites anymore in this one. Honestly, it's like playing hot potato. I love it. It's beautiful. University of Warwick, certainly, you know, one of these teams that can challenge, very much so, even outside of the red armor, just in general. They're a very, very strong team, very competitive, and you have to feel at this point they're in a very good spot to bring down that pain onto the rest of the lobby here into game number 3. As a reminder, we have 4 games total. The next game will be played on the Morris Isle. Wrapping up this one here, our last game on Holleroff. And it will be the first time that we see the University of Manchester not take everything and be our most dominant team. They are eliminated. They are already out of this game. Another team is going to step up and take that one from them. Who is it going to be? That is the question. It could be the University of Warwick, or it could be the Kill Krakens, the 2 teams you're seeing on your screen right now fighting it out. Kill at a significant disadvantage, though, with Doma falling down. It's a 2 versus 3. Kraken aren't going to like those odds right here, but the University of Warwick absolutely will. They'll take those odds every day of the week. Themak is struggling on that Matari. He's taking a whole bunch of damage. Sir Scrub, Angelic Nova putting down the hurt. Themak has fallen. Hawkeye will follow, and that will be Kill eliminated here from game number 3. Back to the lobby with you guys. Good luck in game number 4. University of Warwick putting down the hurt here.
Yeah, and we said that there was potential for this to open the door for a team to put on like a 20, you know, maybe 25 plus kill game and really hit that kill multiplier and try and close that gap. Well, now that Manchester's dropped out, and well, the side of Warwick at the moment, they're sitting on 18 kills, so that's not going to do their kill multiplier the worst of situations. However, you got to say though, oh my god, look at this here. Oh my lord, the side of Warwick are absolutely stacked to the T. 2 legendary armors, 1 red. We've got, oh my god, can we just take time to appreciate the Nom's loot, please? Is that jewelies that are in the legendary and another legendary weapon just stacked behind that as well? That is absolutely ridiculous amount of loot. They've also got the flamer as well, I think, in the hands of Sir Scrub now too. So, you know, this is going to be real tough for Warwick to lose this game. It's probably harder for them to lose this game than it is for them to actually win it at the moment. But let's not discredit any of these other squads here in this University Invitational. They're all here for a reason. They will equally deserve their chance and their spot in this competition. And, well, one team that we've not probably seen too much of is, speaking of Manchester's, not both squads from Manchester have been eliminated just yet. This is going to be Manchester Met, if I'm correct, still flying the flag and the pride of the Mancunians high and mighty. But nevertheless, with 0 kills on the board at the moment, I think they were one of the teams that were sitting towards the bottoms of the leaderboards. They've got to get on a little bit of a move on here, you could say, at the moment, Dan, because things for them seem to be a little bit stale at the moment.
Yeah, they haven't got a single kill to their name, but they will be able to benefit from that high finish. Assuming it's University of Warwick, these guys, and probably another squad alive. There's 9 players total, so could be 3 teams. It could be like a, you know, maybe one player from one team, another from whatever. Like, we could have a different amount of squads coming through here. But I think this might just be curtain closing here, potentially, on the Manchester Met University. Maybe not. It looks like Warwick is actually going to back away from this one. I don't want to throw anything away. The issue is, at this point, if you do engage onto a team and you get sandwiched, you get third-partied, suddenly you're in a lot of trouble. And for Warwick, you know, they're set up to win this game. They don't need to take those kind of risks, and instead they are going to be playing a little bit more safe here. The Ballista being in the circle does open up opportunities to make some plays, but any smart team will just position themselves away from that Ballista so that it doesn't hit them. It doesn't happen. I can just see a cheeky little third team showing up here as well. That is the Loughborough University, team number 6. It might just be Damon, though. I'm not sure the rest of his team are alive, but either way, we're going to get the fight here from the University of Warwick, engaging onto Manchester Met. Angelic Nova with that red armor, getting down those horizontal slashes. They're going to have to try and avoid this Viper stun. This could be big, but I don't think there's any follow-up. Chick Thick is all by himself. Unfortunately, it's Buddha, not Chick Thick. Sorry, Buddha is going to fall, and that's that. Easy as you like there for University of Warwick. Manchester Met is going to be eliminated. Just 1 more squad remaining. 3 more players stand between University of Warwick and victory in game number 3.
I absolutely love there, though, Dan, that even with the Viper stun, they back themselves so well with the gold armor and the red that they just stand there and are like, what do you actually expect yourself to do to us in this situation, even while they're all stunned? So you got to say, the side of Warwick University, or the University of Warwick, should I say, are playing with a little bit of confidence, to say the least. And, well, Damon, unfortunately, although he is advertising that he is somewhat of a free agent here, he seems to be free falling, or at least free hanging on at the moment to the side of this building, just on the edge of the shadow corruption at the moment. But his teammate, Pastor Salt, unfortunately, pass your life into the next lobby, my friend, and we won't see you until the final game. And we are down to just our remaining 5 players. Of course, the trio of Warwick still up. The solo here, of course, is going to be Damon left alive. And, well, although...
Oh my goodness.
One player is alive, it's going to be Meow. There's no way, right? He can, he's not ever going to be able to win this in a 1 versus 3, surely not. But to say the least, if he can stay alive and get that second additional placement point, of course, for finishing in 2nd spot, and the kill multiplier might be able to find 1 or 2, who knows? But surely this is going to be Warwick, who reigns strong at the top of the standings here. And to be honest with you, I think they totally deserve it. They're now sitting on, what do I make that, 21 kills. They've backed themselves in every engagement, and, you know, even before they've had this armor set, they looked really, really strong here going into this game number 3.
Yeah, for sure. Warwick have been very dominant in this one. Very impressive stuff from these guys. One of the better teams we were expecting coming into the day. Damon now has his time's almost run out. The circle nearly brought him down. There's 5 players left, guys. 3 of them are on the University of Warwick, and the other 2 are stragglers. It's University of Liverpool, Lemeow, who this is not the first time he's found himself in this situation. He did do this in game number 1 as well, where he was hiding up a tree, just trying to survive and last as long as he could. But he is all by himself, as a reminder as well. Like, not just in this game because his team is dead. He doesn't have a team. They couldn't field a full team. It's just him. It's literally just him in all of these games, even from minute 1. It's just him. So he is genuinely playing NARAKA Splinter Cell Edition and just trying his best to just hide and survive and get the highest place finish as he can. Not from kills, but from surviving. And it's kind of working. If I'm him at this point, I just run out and I just try and fight University of Warwick. Like, I mean, yep, there he is. He's come out now. He's like, haha, it was me. I was hiding. And he knows he's not going to be able to bring down this last team. His best chance is trying to finish second place, which is what he's going to do here in the last man standing side, but obviously not a lot of kills to back that up. As far as the point totals go, though, he should have access to, I think it's like 3 points for finishing second, so it's something. There is a prize pool, but obviously, you know, you get 3 points for just getting 3 kills, and a lot of our teams here are able to do that plus then some as well.
Yeah, well, this was where it all started to go wrong, really, here for the University of Manchester in this game number 3. We saw the first kill from Durham come through, but this is where we actually started to see Warwick, you know, claim and make a stake for potentially winning this game. As soon as they dealt with the first player from the side of Durham, they just turned their attention. We saw the ult gets popped. The Sandstorm, of course, from that Temi tries to come through, but it's to no available as Sir Scrum and the rest of the squad from Warwick do eventually kill Awesome, who did put up a valiant fight, but from there it was just wave after wave of Warwick attack, you know. And one thing I like a lot about Warwick is they don't necessarily rely too much on their ability and ult set. They just back themselves in their own overall gameplay and movement to find kills inside of those engagements and those team fights. That seems to work so well with them when they do then pair it with the likes of the F-pop or the ult that does come through. But, you know, we thought for a second it could be kill Kraken's game, right? Until Doma here unfortunately dies with that red armor, and from there, that's just such a game changer for anyone to try and shut down this Warwick side, because the side of Warwick, they were flying through teams before they had that armor in their back pocket to work with, and even here against the 2 remaining players of the Kraken, who both had that legendary gold armor to work with, by the way, just rip through it like it's not even there, and find the remaining kills onto Hawkeye and that side of kill Krakens. And that was sort of the story of how the game went for the side of Warwick, right? It was just wave after wave of attack and kill after kill.
Yeah, it was very impressive stuff here at the end of the day from Warwick. It wasn't just like they breezed their way to success here in game number 3. They did have to go through some of the tougher squads. Kill being the most notable one in that engagement. They were able to come out on top of them and then kind of ride that coattail to victory. University of Manchester, I mean, we didn't really get to see what happened to those guys. I mean, we sort of did. Like, they all split off as they've been doing after dominating game 1 so hard. They split off in solos, and then they just tried to fight solo versus 3-man squads, and it didn't work for them this time. It did work for them last game, to be fair, but not this time round. I think they'll go back to dominating everyone in game number 3. I think we have quite a strong finish from these guys. I think they'll just run around and destroy.
Well, let's take a little look at what game 3 looked like at the end of the play as to how the standings are. And do you know what? You know, Warwick Esports, I don't want to say that they're on the tails of the University of Manchester, but if the side of University of Manchester fall early again in this game and Warwick put up another big performance, we're going to see that gap change from, you know, what is 47 points right now, probably close to within the 10-point region. So the University of Manchester, they need a good game number 4 here. They're heading back to, you know, to Morris Isle at the moment, which is a game we saw them pick up 34 kills and a ridiculous game number 1 to say the least on earlier on in the day. But Warwick Esports, they're saying, okay, Manchester, we're still here, we're still hanging around.
Yeah, legit. It's very impressive stuff. I've been, you know, pleasantly surprised, I would say, here by some of those teams coming into that 3rd and 4th spot. But I still think, you know, yes, Warwick are sort of knocking on the door for Manchester, but below them, you know, you've got Kiel, De Montfort as well. knocking on the door of Warwick. You know, it's going to be a big game 4.
Big game 4 indeed, and that game 4 is going to come up after a short but sweet break. Don't go anywhere, because when we're back, we're going to bring you the conclusion of the actions here in week number 1. 3 down, 1 to go here in week 1 of the NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational. Myself, John P, joined once again by Fox Droppin. Dan, after game number 3, we're now heading into game number 4. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can do maths. That's what a private education will get you these days. We are now going to see a little bit more of an interesting affair than what we thought we would have after the first 2 games. And that's because Warwick, they suddenly decided to show up here.
They have, yeah. They did really, really well in game number 3. I was very impressed the things that they did. They ran through Kiel pretty easily. They ran through De Montfort. They all of the competition essentially that would pose a threat to them, they just washed over and it wasn't an issue. Like it was a very dominating game, and not just the fact they won, but the style they won in. It was quite impressive, and it does raise some questions here for game number 4, because we had been seeing the University of Manchester taking basically everything so far today, but they have kind of been like taking it easy as well on the other teams. Like they've not, they've been doing like musket only challenge and splitting up instead of playing as a full trio. And I do wonder whether they'll change that around a little bit here, since it is the last game of the day. And if that does happen, you can see that they're at the top right of your screen. They are all groups up, at least to begin with. If they do all group up together and play more standard, does Warwick have another chance at bringing out a top spot and really challenging them for the first place here overall today?
Well, I'm trying to see where Warwick are at the moment.
I think they're bottom right. I can see them in the Shadow Jade mine.
Yeah, I think they're just to the south of the mines, and well, they've got the Krakens to work with. They've got the Sixers there, and they've got Met University as well, but they swiftly work their way through at least one player of Met University, and now it looks like, oh dear, Met University, AJ, but are unlucky, my friend. You lasted about as long as me in a ranked game there, and that's not very long at all, to say the least. So already Warwick, they found themselves 3 kills within the space of 3 seconds here. What a great start for our current second place team in our leaderboards. Yes, of course, the side of Met University, Manchester Met University, sorry, should I say, aren't donezo just yet. They have got the rebirths to work with, but to lose all 3 rebirths straight at the start of the early doors, that is not the best start, to say the least. But I can see in the bottom right, though, of the kill column, that them players from the University of Manchester, they've already found 2 kills.
Yeah, 2 kills. Far more to come, you would imagine. But it's only 2, but it's scary, man. It's scary. These guys are off to the start that you would expect from them, and they'll probably just be keeping on hunting their way down through this lobby. If game 1 was anything to go by, it really was not fair, as now University of Warwick are finding themselves in a bit of a pickle here. Sir Scrub taking a huge fireball to the face from Ataka G right there. Didn't quite see who it was that was chasing him, but I think it may have been a kill, a Kraken coming after him. It looks like that may have been the case, as it's Hawkeye here throwing out those shots, trying to get the damage down. Doma as well in on this fight. They're trading 1 for 1. Hawkeye has fallen. So much more going down as well, but it is at the end of the day. University of Warwick coming out on top. The Sixers raining down hell from on top of this cliff here with those ranged weapons, trying to just pick up a little bit, scavenge themselves some kills. They've got a good amount of poking. Now's the time to advance and to chase. Try and finish these kills off before the University of Warwick can get those heals back through. They did find one, however. It did find one. Nom de Nom has fallen. Now it's Scrub. Probably one of the better players we have here, I would say, actually. Really, really impressive stuff. Is up against 3-man team. Not a good number for him. Will he fall to his death? Will he get picked up? Just one more hit will do it, but no! Gets the heal from his friend and the armor swap as well. Not sure he'll want to re-engage just yet, but maybe he does, yeah. There it is. Oh man, they were so close. The Sixers were so close from Staffordshire there to bring down Warwick, to get Sir Scrub, and with that, maybe they could put down the fight onto the rest of the squad, but it was just not to be, and Oteen smashes the ground in frustration.
Yeah, it was so clutch as well, the character select that he chose to have. Of course, one of the abilities on the FB, and to pop that momentary shield, right, that just kept him alive to allow his 2 teammates to advance past him. But for the side of the Sixers, oh, they have got to be absolutely kicking themselves, to say the least, that they've allowed that to happen. But Transform does come through, though, for one of the players to be literally for the side of the University of London. And although he is quite overpowered in that Titan Call form, not so much when you're coming out of it to 3 players from the side of the Coventry Phoenixes. So unfortunately for Lichard, very much down, but certainly not out yet. The rebirth still available, I think, for him. So no doubt he'll be back up into the fight in the equation a little bit sooner rather than later. One of his players, teammate Spark, I think, has just come back through the rebirth also. But now we turn our attentions over towards the side of Manchester Met, who, that was the team earlier on that fought against Warwick, who got completely, cleanly wiped off the face of the Morris Isle, to say the least, early doors. They have lost Chick Thick completely as well from the game, so it's just Buddha and Ladataku left alive here for the side from Manchester Met. And, you know, with 25 minutes left of this game, we've still got a lot of NARAKA to see, not only today, but of course next week as well. Don't forget, we're here for the same time next week. It's going to be a lot of fun headed into week 2 before we're back for the finals just a week after that. So make sure you got the notifications turned on and you put it in your calendars. But here come, though, the side of Manchester University, or should I say the University of Manchester. They're going to engage themselves onto the side of Coventry Phoenix. And, well, Asher, they're not the ideal targets to try and dive yourself in towards. And just look how quickly this trio shreds through players. 4 kill streak for one of the players. They're up to 6 kills already. And, I mean, this University of Manchester side, they are a scary, scary customer to have inside your shop. Absolutely. They're terrifying. Horrifying. Once they group up together as a 3, yeah, it's no fun. I know now why my local co-op only allows like a certain amount of school kids in at a time. Like, for me, I'm the Morris Isle shopkeeper, and I say, okay, only one University of Manchester player allowed in at any time. Just the one. Then we can have a situation like we saw in game number 3, where maybe they get a little bit too cocky, and you can bring them down individually, bite-sized chunks, and maybe you can get something going there. But when they're all together working on the same page, it really is not fair, is it? Just look at them just absolutely slicing and dicing their way through the lobby. I think they already had like 6 kills, and I can't imagine anyone standing up to them. It's going to be very tough for them. Salford here now, Westy and Kirby finding themselves a poor little wicket. It's going to be able to take him down and pick up his loot. No one else in the area. No threats hovering about. Very nice stuff for him. Crossmoon here from Durham University. One of the few Tarka players that we've seen here today, which is always fun to see. I like Tarka. I think he's quite an entertaining champion to watch. Partially that's just because it's a nice break from the meta whenever he does get picked. But in general, the old fireballs coming through and running around as the Burning Man, it's always entertaining, as you're seeing here now. De Montfort University, not the good team that they want to be fighting against. So scary stuff here. University of Manchester, as always, bringing down the pain. De Montfort are no pushovers either, but they're just like chaff in the wind, man. It's nothing. They're brought down, they're brought low, and it's all over for these guys. Yeah, Loughborough working their way through the remaining 2 of Durham as well. And I mean, Loughborough, they're a team that's been a little bit quiet, you could say. I think, you know, the only time we've really seen them was where Damon and Pastor Salt were left alive hanging onto the edge of the building, right? And I think it actually might have been last game before we saw Warwick pick up the win. But one team we've seen a lot of action from has been the side of Kill Krakens. And when they're a team that they like to be on the front foot. However, for Hawkeye, he's very much on the back burners at the moment, as no shield to work with. The stun comes through as well. I think we saw one of the Fs popped from the side of Oxford University, and they should look to at least clean one of these kills up sooner rather than later. The Mac tries to come in and be the one to save the day, but they're going to be dropped down to low HP. The transform comes through. Mac does get slammed to the ground, and with blinking HP left, the insta grab comes back through, the confirmation of the kill as well. And just like that, the side of Oxford University, they're going to pick themselves up a big kill at that. That's going to be one of the main players from the side of Kill Krakens. Yeah, and Kill, obviously, we said a lot of good stuff about them.
It wasn't working for them right here, but fortunately they've got that Kurumi able to do the ranged resurrection, so one of the members has been brought back up, but they still need to find another one, as now we're swapping back over to the University of Warwick. Sir Scrub, look at him go, really not living up to his name, at least not the second part of his name. The first part is certainly royalty, just dashing away, carving through this lobby here. Disgusting stuff, very, very good. Spinning around like a Beyblade, cutting through the air, trying to finish off the lone Oxfordian. Shouldn't be too long now before he falls down. Just a little bit left. There he goes, Agilior. Down he falls, part of the mud into the dirt once more. I cannot wait to see Warwick and Manchester go toe-to-toe here in this lobby. I feel like Warwick have kind of unlocked something, do you know what I mean? Like, they were, obviously they were always decent, they were always good, but the confidence that I think they've gained from game number 3 really is quite impressive. Like, I just think they've turned it up to a new level, and I do want to see them versus University of Manchester, the other titans of our University Invitational here today.
You've literally, I don't know, are you inside my brain right now? Because
Quite
you took
possibly.
the words right out of my mouth. Quite honestly, listen, we worked together once and the telepathic understanding's already there between us, mate, honestly. It's things you love to see as a caster. But no, yeah, literally, you took the words straight out of my mouth. I was literally about to say, I cannot wait to see these two teams fight, because like you said, it's like, you know, without any pun intended, it's like the side of Warwick have quite literally been rebirthed, right? Like, they're just a completely different team all of a sudden in these last 2 games, and they're playing with such confidence. And guess what? I think one of the players from the side of Manchester, they're relatively low, and they got to get on their high horse and away from trouble as quickly as possible. But the grapples are going to come through. They aren't going to land, though, so that player slowly but surely does eventually get away. But the Sixers, well, they're going to go hunting. I think the knockback comes through too, and this is a devastating spot that this player from the side of Manchester finds himself in, but he turns the tides. It's going to be Oten and Zeno who both fall relatively low. This player finds the first. Can he find any more? Oten, I think, somehow just survives, and this player grapples his way out of trouble, but not before the grapple hook as well can come back through. These players from the Sixers, they're trying so hard to hunt the kill. I think we've seen the refresh on both the hill and the shield come through, so the armor's back on deck, and oh, the side of Manchester, they get let off with an awfully scary experience.
My goodness, that was something, wasn't it? It just shows you the quality, man. The quality of these players is absolutely disgusting. And there it is, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Or is it? I don't know, man. I think I may have just jinxed him. Very nice, though. He's able to bring down the pain, and the meter dump on the nunchucks. There's no way. There's simply no way this is not happening right now. He's so incredibly low. He's going to get a little bit of a heal. The Sixers are in hot pursuit right now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find him. One full Zeno is out of there. Still trying to heal up as well. He is going to get juggled a little bit, though. Not the spot he wants to be in. And finally, he is gonna fall, but holy moly, here comes the cavalry. The rest of the University of Manchester are here to avenge their fallen comrade. They're gonna pick him up. It's all good, all's well that ends well. And the Sixers are gonna be scattered, running for the hills.
I don't know what it is about this Manchester side here, Foxtrot, honestly. You think you can count them out, and you know, there is a team that they probably absolutely thrive under the pressure of those 1v3 or 2v3 situations, because they just know that they have it in them to make the play. And well, like you mentioned, although the first kill does come through, they find the res, almost instantaneously, and well, all 3 players are back up and are raring to go. Just under the 17-minute mark here, left in this game number 4, the final game of the day, of course, but not for this Invitational. We got 4 more next week, and then 6 in the finals the weekend after that. So if you're loving the NARAKA esports action here for the uni scenes, make sure you stay tuned. And well, for Philothea, unfortunately, you're going to have to tune in next week into the lobby, my friend, as you've not got much left to play. But here come, though, the side, team number 5 of Lancaster University. They spotted 1 player from the University of Manchester. Can they isolate them, though? But the movement is so good from this player, and you already mentioned when the cavalry comes calling, it's a scary sight, but this player might not even need it. The ult does eventually get popped, though. That's going to keep this team just up slightly longer than anticipated. New Light doing all that they can to try and land the fatal blows. 2 players though from the side of the University of Manchester down to low HP. No armor to work with. One though does get the armor switched eventually through, but there is one player dancing with the devil to say the least. But I think that time that the side of the Lancaster University did buy is going to keep them alive and allow them to disengage.
That's enough time for now, but I don't know, man. I think you jinxed him. I think you jinxed him. He's not going to survive here, surely. He is trying to just dash away. You can see his teammates here just hiding. They're not even trying to help. They're just like, nah. You've bitten off way more than you can chew right there. We are not fighting the University of Manchester. I'm gonna chill up here at the top of this tree. You can have fun playing with those guys down there, but I'm certainly not going to be joining you. Maybe they might just get away with this, but I'm not 100% sure. Like they are. No, I think they've seen them. They definitely have seen them. University of Manchester now got their sights on these treetops, up in the canopies, trying to root out the rest of Lancaster Uni. It'll be kind of tough to find them. They are on the run, trying to get out of here fast as they can. Very smart decision, you have to feel. Certainly not a fight you want to be taking against these guys, especially now that they're all buffed up as well. Difficult situation they find themselves in here. Just going to be walking away at the moment. But now, it's all that beautiful stuff coming through from the University of Manchester, bringing back their form as well. You have to think these guys are the favourites now to take it all here in game number 4. But we haven't seen the matchup against Warwick. We're still waiting for that matchup. That's something I'm waiting for, and I'm very excited to see it when it happens.
I think that's something we're going to probably see towards the later stages and the later shadows in the game, right? Once that shadow corruption, starts to tick down and we're into the final 5 minutes or so of the game, we'll probably see those 2 teams clash heads, and you could say the Titans collide, as I'm sure a few Transformers are being run in the comps for either side. But for the Sixers, though, they were a team that just got themselves out of trouble earlier on against that Manchester University side, or the University of Manchester, should I say, sorry. But here come the University of Manchester, and it is going to be the kill Krakens. The gold armor, though, is going to help out this player from the University of Manchester. The inspiration shield, as well, of course, the F ability. However, just look at this. It's fantastic stuff. So much damage output from this player, but he does get tagged up himself. The knockback does come through as well, and with full armor to work with for at least 2 out of the 3 players, the inspiration shield's going to come to potentially no avail. But guess what? The reinforcements definitely do come in, and we do see the side of the University of Manchester do a lot of damage here. It's going to be the Mac who falls relatively low, just 6 seconds until that F does come back online. The transform comes through. That's going to be Mac grabbed and slammed down to the ground and slammed out of the lobby, unfortunately, as once again, this side of the University of Manchester, they just back themselves every time, and boy, oh boy, do they deliver.
And just when you think you've seen it all from these guys, they reveal another trick up their sleeve this time around. The Transformer comp, and grabbing that player and having that the wherewithal and the instant knowledge, knowing they have to just pelt the grab target with ranged weapons there, and that's how the Mac fell down. That's how he died. It was pretty painful stuff, but a very solid strategy there for University of Manchester, because they can't just be running around just left clicking people down, just out mechanicalnessing them. Yeah, that kind of thing. And it'd be a joy to watch. It'd be working for them as well, and obviously they're very talented players, but to see them actually pull off some more combo moves, more team play moves is actually horrifying and scary in a different sense as well, because they haven't needed it up until this point. They find themselves now, though, against the University of Nottingham. It's a good stun from the Viper, but perfect timing with the F from Yoto to get the parry. And my goodness, no! Surely not. Is it happening? Is it happening again? Has the University of Manchester player just pulled it out once more? Holy moly, almost obliterates that entire University of Nottingham squad, but they've not had enough. He's going back in. He wants more. He has not had enough violence. More violence, more bloodshed, please. One kill wasn't enough. He's going for the second. And shortly after, you think he'll probably go for the third. He is going to find that second kill, knocking down the bad guys. And here comes the pain train in reverse. Of course, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be enough. Viper Ning cannot avenge his teammates. Just going to have to run away instead. But I'm not sure you're going to be able to, my friend. It is going to be the chase. University of Manchester say, you want to get away from this one? I don't think so. Viper Ning on Viper Ning is going to fall down, and that will be that. University of Nottingham eliminated from game number 4.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can do like an event recap on this or not, but if we are, just clip that 1v3 and say, you want to know how the University Invitational went, and just post that. That's all the only caption you need. Honestly, the player was what I think half HP, a quarter HP, and pulls off a monstrous ability with the F as well, of course, to just restrict the damage, and then pairs it with the ult to just slash down and completely wipe out a player. But speaking of wiping out a player, this is one player from the side of the University of Manchester who is going to fall to the side of the University. However, here comes that player from the side of the University of Manchester. Again, 2 versus 1. We've seen them do it before. Can they do it again? First one dealt with, no problem. Second one dealt with, even easier by the looks of it, as we are going to see him force the revive just ever so slightly out. And, well, Hydro, you're going to be dipping yourself out of trouble and away from harm's way, and you can't count them out. You can't. 1v3, 2v3, 3v3, 3 versus the rest of the 57 players in the lobby. It really doesn't matter, because these players, they just get it done every single time.
They're still taking those solo fights, but they have the backup lurking around if they need it, you know. So even if they do fall, even if they do fail, they have friends coming through and willing to pick them up and to scare off any any of the other guys that might be trying to loot them and to finish them off. It's tough, man, when you've got that team composition coming through, and you've got those team plays coming through. Very difficult to match up against Manchester. Kill University, only Hawkeye alive. The Mac and Doma, both of these players have been eliminated. They're out of it. Only 10 players left here. That's going to be the 3 from the University of Manchester. 1 here from the Kill Krakens. I believe we still have some more from De Montfort. You can see here on the map here, Hydro. Lemieux is still hiding away. Of course, he is doing his thing. A few members from Loughborough. Kill, as I mentioned as well. Just Durham. We've got basically like 1 full squad, and then just a bunch of random players knocking about. It's not looking good, honestly. It's looking very difficult here from anyone not named University of Manchester to pick out the victory here. It's going to be tough. Lemieux has been spotted out on the top of that tree, as he likes to do, playing his hiding little spots. It's going to be tough for him to hide away from this one. University of Manchester now looking to bring it all home here in game number 4.
I think they're just trying to seal the deal and go 3 for 4. I think maybe that game number 3 annoyed them ever so slightly. I think it's just woke them up, you know, a little bit. And for Warwick, I think they've missed a chance here to really close that gap. They've only got Sir Scrub left alive in the lobby for themselves, and you can't make mistakes like that. You got to capitalize on any opportunity that you're given. But well, Lemieux, unfortunately, like you said, only 1 player alive for side of this University. You couldn't field a full trio, so they've just been rolling solo dolo at the moment, and surprisingly it seemed to make it inside sort of the top 10 every single time. So imagine what they could do with 2 other players alive in the lobby. But Hawkeye, though, is going to do a lot of damage early on here. Does grapple himself onto that player. It's going to be past Assault, though, that gets the armor back up into a little bit more of a doable spot. The F comes through, though, narrowly missing out, but it's going to switch over to the Legendary. Absolutely rinsing and burning through that purple armor as quickly as you heal it up. I'll rip it back off you. And Hawkeye, the solo player, like you said, alive for the kill. Kraken's gonna just relocate himself back up into the nice old tree. I think we're used to seeing the Krakens a little bit further under the water and the horizon line, and we see them up in the air and in the birds' nests. But either way, Hawkeye living by his namesake, doing just that, but managing to keep himself alive here against Rally. A lot of damage done, to say the least. He's been forcing back into that Shadow Corruption, and when that's on the Shadow Corruption level 4, that's going to do a decent amount of damage, to say the least, especially when you've got the sword in your face from Hawkeye.
It's only the 4th kill here, though, for Kill University. Something that's not really par for the course for what we've seen today. These guys usually bring down a lot of hurt, a lot of kills, rack up those kill totals, and the score to go alongside with it. Hawkeye, though, getting that 4th one. A little bit extra here for him and his team. You're kind of seeing it's just like 1v1v1v1v1v1 versus 3 at this point here in the lobby. And so it's whether or not you as an individual, you know, how do you want to play this one out? Do you just want to try and hide and run away from the University of Manchester, you know, that three-player strong team? Or do you want to play a little bit more like Hawkeye and try and go for those kills, try and find... I recognize that, okay, I'm not the only one here who's solo. There's other solo players here as well. Maybe I can pick up a kill here and there. Maybe I don't just want to hide. We'll see how it develops here. There's not a lot of time left remaining. 5 minutes on the clock. This has been our longest game, I believe, so far of the day. But nothing too surprising to say about that when you consider the fact that, I mean, just look, there's 3 players from one team, and I can see 4 players from another, and then there's got to be one off screen as well. It's unfortunately for us, you know, I think the big downside to all of this is we did not get to see that big University of Warwick versus University of Manchester clash. It was something that we unfortunately weren't treated to. Just Scrub alive now, trying to finish as high as he can to get that kill multiplier with the kills that his team has already achieved throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is obviously only the first 4 games, week number 1. We still got 4 more games next week for you, so maybe we will see that, you know, as the story starts to unfold later and later in the interval. But I really wanted to see it in this game. Off the back of such a huge Warwick performance and a dicey game from the side of Manchester, I think it would have been a great narrative to take into this. But unfortunately, Manchester just seemed to be able to just look at the movement here, though, Dan, out of the side of Manchester. It's effortless. It's almost poetic, you could say, in terms of how smooth and crisp it is. But although they are going to not be able to deal with this solo player from the side of Loughborough University at the moment, it's going to be Past Assault, who just hangs in there ever so slightly. But 3 minutes, though, on the clock left alive here for these teams in the final game of the day here at the NARAKA BLADEPOINT University Invitational. And it looks like Past Assault won't be a part of it for too much longer, as inevitably they do fall. The 32nd kill on the board for the side of the University of Manchester. I think that's over 100 kills between the 4 games that we've seen them in, and they've dropped 30 after 30 every single time.
My goodness, it's just an absolute slaughter, isn't it? There's still 2 more kills left on the board here. If they get both of them, then that will match their kill total from game number 1, which was 34. And Sir Scrub looks like he's being found out. He won't be lasting much longer here anymore either. Doesn't have to out-survive team number 13. Just has to survive Lemiao, which he's done. So he can happily die now. He doesn't care anymore. Lemiao has fallen. Sir Scrub is not going to get any higher placement. He's not going to get any more points. He knows he can't beat these guys. But it looks like a bit of a gentleman's duel here coming through. Sir Scrub and the University of Manchester player both healing up. Going for that 1v1. Who's going to take it? Sir Scrub getting a lot of pain down here. Actually not too bad. Against that zipping, I have to think, I'm not quite sure who's favoured in this one, but Sir Scrub, all in all, is doing a huge amount of pain. It is actually almost going to bring down the University of Manchester player, but here comes the return. Huge props to the rest of the Manchester team. They're not getting involved in this one, even though his teammates getting boinked, and there it is. The parry comes through. brings down that first kill. Are they actually just gonna do 1 versus 1 versus 1? Yes, I love this. I absolutely love it. Sir Scrub now up against his second opponent this time around. Not a great start of things. Might just be his last fight in this one. Those charge attacks from those dual blades coming through really, really heavy. Sir Scrub, no armor left, not a lot of health. Does get a bit of return damage, mind you. Does break the armor. The Yoto with that F going for the reset. Has popped the ulti. Can Sir Scrub dodge, duck, dive, dip and dodge his way out of the ult? Doesn't need to in the end. It is just going to be cancelled. Instead, we're going to get those resets. What do you think about this one, Jumpy? Who's going to be taking it away?
Do you know what? I love the fact that we're seeing the 1v1s. Completely credit where credit is due. I want to say that I think if Scrub can... Okay, they've actually tagged each other out. Like, I don't want that smoke from Scrub too much longer. It looks like Scrub, though, unfortunately, is going to fall. They came, they saw, they most definitely conquered here. In week number 1, the University of Manchester, they end things. Not the way that they started things, a little bit more gentlemanly, you could say, in terms of the 1v1s, but nevertheless, dominating, destructive, clinical are just a few words that come to mind, Dan. But honestly, a phenomenal week 1 performance from the University of Manchester. You've got to say props to Warwick, though. They hung in there. Yeah,
for sure, honestly. Like, things have been established here. In day number 1, the main one being that University of Manchester is turbo cracked. And we're seeing the highlights here from last game here. Game number 4, University of Warwick. Really one of the more dominant teams that we saw here today, fighting the Kill Krakens in this clip, who themselves are absolutely no slouch. We had a few teams who were competing for that kind of second spot here. On the day, University of Warwick will be able to pick it up at the end, but it wasn't just them. You know, Kill. You saw Staffordshire doing some good things as they are on your screen right now. The Sixers, Salford as well, doing some cool things. Oxford, the Montford, quite a few teams able to compete in this one, which was more than I was expecting coming into today. Salford, team number 15, the team you're seeing on your screen against Durham. Hunting down Westy. Sorry, not hunting down Westy. Westy's doing the hunting. Trying to find that kill onto Wicket. Was a pretty impactful game, I would say, from Salford. Like this was a team who I would argue got better as the day went along. As they found their footing, they were able to find some more kills, able to make some more plays. But of course, the story always will be and always has been for today. The University of Manchester, these guys here, I mean, the parry coming through, the individual mechanics was off the charts. The 1v3 right now against the Sixers, just able to bring down so much pain over and over again, looking like teams had no answer for them, and ultimately, I don't think they did.
Nah, yeah, I just think sometimes you just got to respect and give credit where credit is due. Like, even in this situation here, right, the 1 versus 3 that we saw throughout the day, the players are literally a sliver of HP. Ultimately, they do eventually fall, but then the 2 versus 3 comes through, and it's just, you know, the University of Manchester, when you've got a team that can just put on the afterburners and be a bit of a style bender, it's always hard to live with, right, and deal with. But nevertheless, you got to say, this is probably, you know, set us up for an interesting, you know, conversation topic going into next week here, Dan, at least anyway. Because there were a few teams that, you know, they started off slowly, but come game number 3, game number 4, the likes of Warwick, the likes of, you know, De Montfort, even Durham threw their equations in there. The Kill Krakens as well. I remember seeing Staffordshire, the Sixers, of course. They put up a few decent performances as the games went on, and I'm just hoping that the University of Liverpool can honestly field a whole trio roster next week, so that El Miao is unfortunate. It's actually got a bit of a better chance going into next week, apart from, you know, the solo.
Yeah, he was up against it, I would say, statistically today. The poor guy was all by himself, didn't have any teammates. No one was able to play with him. So, yeah, that was a bit tricky, but it was quite cool watching him just try and hide away from everyone at all times. Like, he was always in, like, the final few teams. And I saw the standings coming into Game 4. He wasn't at the bottom. Like he was. I mean, he wasn't near the top because he couldn't. He got one kill, by the way. He had one kill. Like I don't know how he managed to do it, but bless him, he got a kill. But he was still on like coming into Game 4. I think he had like 8 points or something like that. Pretty impressive stuff. We're actually going to be able to check out how the totals did wind up today. I do want to see how did he do. 12th place. It's not, honestly, that is not bad considering he's just one guy in trios here doing his best. But I mean, 177. You said eclipsing the 100 kills. I have 4 games. 103 kills in 4 games.
Yeah.
Is disgusting. Absolutely ridiculous stuff there from the University of Manchester.
Yeah, it's safe to say the only way I could describe that are words that aren't safe for broadcast.
Yes.
in terms of how good the performance
sure.
was out of the side of the University of Manchester. But an 82.5 point difference going into next week. The University of Manchester basically everyone else has got to hope that there's a power outage in Manchester next week for them to try and claim the top spot. But nevertheless, though, you look from 3rd spot all the way down really to, you could probably say bottom. That's only one good game that will take you right up towards the 3rd spot of a high kill win, for example. But nevertheless, they've got to deal with the likes of Warwick and University of Manchester to do that. But what a start to the event. What a week number 1 to say the least. And I've had an absolute amazing time here today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how was your first NARAKA broadcast? I mean, it was very bloodthirsty. You don't usually see one team just go as ham as that, but did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? Because I know you've been playing more.
I loved every second of it, honestly. I literally tweeted out halfway through the broadcast in our break. I was like, no, I love NARAKA esports. Yeah. It's crazy. It's formidable. If we're seeing like, say, maybe 5 or 6 high level teams in one lobby, imagine what it's like to be a part of Pro League and stuff like that, where you're seeing ridiculously good players that play this game for a living every day. So no, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully we get to do it again sometime soon, whether it's here or somewhere else. But no, definitely had a absolute blast. But unfortunately, that has concluded our action for today. Remember, we are back here. I think Dan is going to be joined by another amazing caster next week for week number 2, and then we've got the finals the week after that. So 4 more games come next week. But it's been the story of one team, and that is the story of the University of Manchester. They reign supreme at the top of the leaderboards, to say the least. But nevertheless, I've had an absolute blast. Thank you so much, of course, to NSC and NARAKA for allowing us to run this amazing University Invitational. And until next time, stay playing NARAKA because it's absolutely amazing. And I won't see you next time, but Dan will. Have a good weekend, guys.
See ya.
student gamers, and welcome to the British University Esports Championship Spring 2022. It's been a long time coming, and we're now live from Insomnia. We're back bigger than ever. We have so much going on here.
It's a place for all competitive gamers to come along. Even if you're not amazing, you can still take part, which is really nice, and you meet so many different students from different unis. It's just really nice, like a fun place to be.
And the NSC, being at Insomnia, is really amazing. Especially a small, isolated university like Oxford, it's great to meet other students who are into esports.
So we've got a spectator area where the student communities come and they're meeting up for the first time in probably 2 years, getting to watch the finals, and then we've also got the teams on stage playing against each other. And then also we've got a student LAN as well, as kind of like a mini LAN in a wider bring your own computer over the weekend. Super grateful for our sponsors. Our headline partner is Intel. We're also partnered with Barclays, Monster Energy, providing loads of Monster Energy to keep everyone fueled over the weekend, PC Specialist, Special Effects, and we're also partnered with Bucks as well.
Everyone in the university scene is so welcoming and so lovely. You don't see people like this anywhere else, like in a community together. And it's just all about creating those connections with different people, and it's just really amazing.